Hey, hey, hey! How y'all doing tonight?
Good. So good.
Lovely.
Woohoo! It is quite exciting. For all you new folks, welcome on around. It is the first day of Arhectorum Season 2, Adventures in the Wilderlands. It's time for a lot of good old adventures. It's a time for getting out there and discovering things that not even I know about. And about ultimately trying to have a lot of player freedom and letting you do what you want to do. But all of that comes later. Because right now, there is a whole lot of nothingness. Every direction, all around you, is nothing. It's nice. It's calming. There's no sounds to bug you. There's no abrasive wind on your ears or sun on your skin. There's no chance of falling over and tripping or getting hurt. It's peaceful. It's tranquil. And above all else, well, it's just quite simply very nice. It's a great place to be, at least, until that starts to change a little. And off, very far in the distance, a sound begins to crack its way through, making this previously tranquil moment a bit less so. As it begins to make its way through, you start to think a little bit about, like, hey, I'm me, aren't I? I'm somebody. I'm not supposed to be nothing. I'm supposed to actually be something. You look around, you don't have anything going on. It's just nothingness in every direction. And now with that sound looming over the horizon, it's a lot less pleasant having everything else be nothing. The sound starts to get louder. It starts to get a lot faster. It starts being much less distance, much less weak, and it starts to actually feel like it's something. You start to have a piercing headache, and you start to feel a little bit of waves on your sides. As for one person in the group, it's a particularly well-known feeling as Kaio begins to wake himself up from unconsciousness. He, along with everyone else, is along the banks of a river along a recently attacked caravan. He barely manages to claw himself awake from the depths of nothingness and begins choking up river water onto the bank as his arms feebly hold him up just enough to breathe. You see as there's a group of hounds that are both taking ferocious bites as well as shooting out some sort of magical sounds from their mouths at the other caravan members who seem to be holding their own, but for you, it's particularly enfeebling. You look around, none of the other people, there's a few people who have fallen into the river, and none of the others have managed to wake up by now. Everyone's at about a quarter to a fifth HP, and Kaio, you are the only one who's awake right now. The other the other members of the caravan are fighting off the dogs valiantly and should be fine. You've got bigger issues to deal with.
I cough up a little bit more water, look around. I see on the map there is a blue kobold nearby. It seems to be struggling in the water. I'd like to swim over, if I can, and try to wake him up.
You swim over and you find that his horn is somewhat lodged into the small outcropping of rock, keeping most of his face underwater. It takes a moment, but you're able to yoink him out and get him facing out of the water, and he remains unconscious.
I feel like the kind of thing my magic might be able to help with.
It absolutely could be.
I would like to try and shape the water out of his lungs, and see if that helps him wake up.
You pry open his jaw. It's a lot more tender and a lot more rough of a muscle than you were expecting. And you manage to just catch a few glimpses of water in it, and you're able to quickly pull it out. From which Rat begins coughing maniacally as his eyes are flush into the blazing sky above him as the sun beams straight into his eyes in a most unpleasant experience.
As he just plunges his face back under the water.
And I will just say, no time, look! And I will point at the wolves that are assaulting our caravan.
The sounds of battle begin to rage around you as the caravan leader is both using his bow as well as his sword to fend off and block against their attacks, while a cleric is both trying to help tend to some of the other wounded as well as create zoning areas to keep the hounds from advancing on the weaker members. She runs over, pushes off some of the hounds from nearby, and pulls Hiroe out from the water onto the ground nearby, and begins patting out some of the water from his back and casting a healing spell on him to bring him to consciousness. You are face down in the mud, half grass, half dirt itself. But you are alive.
What happened? What is this?
She, with a rather exasperated voice, Blink Hounds, get up, help the others.
Yes.
Moves and
Hiroe,
begins deflecting, keeping the two of them on the left distracted as Hiroe makes his way. As you look around for other people, the only person who's left in the river who seems to be unconscious is one who's stuck up partially underneath the bridge.
Alright, work with me here. Hiroe is going to take a moment to ward himself against the Blink Hounds to prevent anything like what had just happened from happening again. And then tries to pull Teferet up while giving him a bit of healing as well to help stabilize him.
Alright. What specifically are you using?
Soothing Shadow.
That'll do it. It's not much,
that is
but it's
pathetic.
enough. Teferet, you're half slanted on the bridge. It's a very shallow bridge. It's only half a foot up from the water, but your torso is above water, and your face becomes flush.
That's pretty low. Yeah.
Your face becomes flush with the wood in front of you, your arms putting a lot of work in as you begin to be able to hold yourself on the side of the bridge and actually pull yourself up, both in mind and in body.
Oh, thank you.
Good news, you're not dead.
Yeah, no, pretty good day. I was hoping this is a third time's the charm kind of deal. Still could be, we'll see.
A few of the hounds on the left side begin to yelp and one of them moves away. On the right, as Kaio's making his way out, one ends up coming up almost face to face with him, and it stares directly at you.
Is it attacking me or just looking at me?
It stares at you exceptionally intently. It's
Let's look,
unnerving as its eyes begin to glow.
I'd like to sink under the water and try and swim backwards away from it.
You dip, leaning backwards underneath the water as you see as this prism of light shoots out from its eyes into the area where you had previously been. Rat, what are you doing?
After kind of centering himself, he had crawled his way up onto this little island in the middle and is like covering his eyes with his hand right now, and is kind of desperately patting around his body to look for his goggles.
You find that they are not on you. Kaio, you're able to see as the hound just in front of you, as it's continuing to work on you, suddenly gets an arrow to its side and begins to back away as it turns back to focus on the caravan leader.
Great. I will bob out of the water and puff up and inhale a deep breath of air.
It is one of the most refreshing times you've had it, and you've got a lot to compete with.
I shake my head and look around. Are you well? You seem a little disturbed, frankly.
As he's like very frustratedly kind of moving around in circles, like barely a crack through his fingers, looking into the water, dipping his head under, looking around, coming back up, moving to another part of the island.
As another
Very
beam of
desperately
light
looking.
shoots over the bridge just over where Hiroi and Tefrid are, that gives just enough illumination for one spot underneath the water to shine and glisten as the beam moves past.
And he immediately just dolphin dives straight into the water.
He has reclaimed his goggles. The other hounds on the left have made their way apart. One of them on the right manages to snag a few pieces of equipment from the caravan, grabbing one of the bags before running off along with the rest.
In the absence of wolves, I will pull myself warily onto the bank, exhale once again, and then try and right myself and observe the damage that's been done.
For the most part, it's surprisingly little. No one has died. There's plenty of people who are hurt. Both the cleric and one of the people who is more of an apothecary are trying to help tend to the burn wounds and the 2 bites that have occurred. And aside from a small amount of supplies that had been stolen that contained food, the caravan is only slightly worse for wear. More pressingly is that as each of you have started to reclaim a bit more of your memories from just before the incident, you realize that you got a face full of one of those blasts of light going straight into your eyes, and you find yourself having a hard time remembering quite a few things, actually. It's more a question of what are the few things that you do remember. So, each of them end up going around and asking you, trying to make sure that you're recovering, and asking, hey, do you remember who you are? We'll start with Kaio.
I think so. He doesn't really, but he's not willing to admit that, so he's pretending that he does.
He's gonna snap on each side of your face, just seeing how you react to it, and if you actually rotate, you end up doing so in a way that is effectively appropriate given the situation. Alright, do you remember time of year, where you're going, any of that?
I blank. I really can't remember. And it's very plain on my face, even though I start a half-hearted, yes, of course.
He starts to get up from the slight crouch that he had next to you. It's okay, it'll come back. There's no shame in it. He moves over to Hiroi and Tefrid. Meanwhile, she's trying to have a similar situation with Rat. Still rather disoriented as a result of the situation. She's very kind about it, but it doesn't seem like that matters too much for Rat. Hey, do you remember who you are, what you're doing here?
Kind of lightly through the very polarized goggles, a good bit of a squint as he sort of low grumbles and runs between her legs, grabbing onto Hiroe's leg and climbing up onto his shoulder.
There you are.
Who was here? Remember face?
Yes, yes. I'm glad you made it out all right.
The two of them exchange a few looks, and she moves to start tending to a few of the others.
Mm.
Well, what about you? Do you remember who you are? As he leans over the halfling and helps him get his bearings a little bit more.
More or less, probably less.
You remember where you're going?
This would be the longer term stuff. I'm okay with remembering.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, anything that I send to you, you remember.
Okay, perfect. Just double checking. Yeah, no, Bastion, right? Bastion.
Hey, well, not too bad. Not too bad.
Yeah, and I've got a name. I don't think it's mine.
Well,
What do you
it'll
mean
come
don't
back to
think
you.
it's yours?
I think I know someone, but not me.
Turns to Hero. What about you, lad?
Nakapu Hiroe, Sky Court, Court of Sky, and this is my charge, Rat.
All right, remembering others too. No, any idea what the day is?
Judging off what I last remember, it has to be High Sun.
Rat cuts him off.
11 high, son, stupid.
He gives a pointing finger at Rat. He's sharp, at least. He's picking up on it. What about any of you remember anyone else aside from the two of them? Looking to Kaio and Tefred.
Well, I do, but I just lied and said I remembered everything, and I'm not going to admit that I don't remember everything. You think I'm going to be vulnerable in that way? Audacious.
Any of you remember me or, and he points across the bridge, her?
No. Do you remember me? I feel like I would have introduced myself, because I'm trying to right now, and it's killing me that I can't.
That's Brooke, of course.
Oh, yes, sorry, yeah, Aspen. You're Aspen. And you're Brooke.
She gives a
Like-
thumbs up from the other side of the stream. And good for you. Hopefully that's a sign of good things to come, that you can remember everyone else. He goes up and just Tefred.
That sounds right.
He looks to Kaio, thinks about saying something, but doesn't. And stands up and asks if any of you are good enough to help with getting the caravan back on the path, getting the cart back on trail.
Yes, give me one moment.
Having been
Hiroe-
mostly... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Hiroe is going to Presti himself, since he said he was kind of face down in the mud.
Mm-hmm. My clothing is soaked. I'm very uncomfortable. Can I have a moment to dry first?
Yeah, I'll help you out.
Take your time. Well, we're going to have to set that wheel, and we're going to have to make sure everybody's in walking shape before we can move on.
If I can, I would like to shape water the wetness out of my clothing.
You absolutely can.
Having been mostly eyeing around and being a little bit on edge from the sudden memory loss and reawakening, Rat realizes something as he sort of looks up and then looks down, jitters a little bit, and jumps off of Hiraway, running for where the caravan was and where the bags were. Which is what general area?
About here. It's the cart is more like right here up against that tree, as one of the wheels has been completely dislodged.
And he just starts almost, he doesn't literally like rip them, but he starts like tearing through bags looking for his stuff.
Oh, right. Is my bag on me?
He Aspen ends up running up and like tries grabbing Rat, just going, hey.
He like kind of nips at the hand that's approaching him.
Where are things?
Yeah, they only took one thing. That was mine. They took some of the food. Not everyone else's stuff is still there. He sort of
Thankfully, it
tries
was
to
just
push
food.
past you a little bit and moves some of them out of the way and grabs one of the honestly crude looking satchels and hands it to you.
He grabs it a little bit aggressively, but not as aggressively as he was breaking through other bags, and kind of looks up, like with a little bit of a side eye, looks back down at his stuff, opens it, sticks his snout in it, closes it, and then runs back over to Hiraway.
All of the things are present, but of course now they are disorganized, which is no good and absolutely his fault.
Yeah, he is grumbling, sitting between Hiraway's legs right now, and has dumped everything on the floor.
So, are you the one who retrieved Rat?
Sorry, who are you talking
Here he's
about?
asking Brooke. Hello?
Is he?
Oh, I thought she said Kyle. My bad.
No,
Asking-
I said Brooke.
Oh, my apologies. No, I took care of it, and she points to the apothecary. Kaylin, yourself, and she points to another one, a merchant named Zays.
Do you have any idea who did retrieve Rat?
Rat's currently working on his organizing, right?
Yes, he is. Originally,
I
everything got
wanted
dumped
to
on the
Rat.
ground.
Right.
Yeah, and he was.
She
Just-
yells out rather loudly, "Who saved the one who who saved the generous kobold?"
I just kind of sheepishly raise my hand.
She points at him.
Generous, I hadn't seen that.
No, it appears I owe you a debt. He's something of my charge.
Well, drowning's a terrible way to go. I could just leave him like that, you know? I don't know why I know that. Seem like you've got a good head on your shoulders. What brings you to this, And I kind of gesture at the ruined caravan.
Opportunity.
Hmm.
As for you?
Something like that, anyway.
I suppose introductions are in order.
There is a blank expression on his face, as he has no introduction to give you, so he will just wait for you to introduce yourself.
I suppose I should go first then. I am Hiraway. Let's leave titles behind for now until we get to a place where titles matter. And you?
I have to ask, do I remember my name? I don't think
You
I
do.
Oh, fantastic. Excellent. Kaio. And he leaves it at that. Now, the generous kobold, why are you his... Well, why is he your charge again?
In the distance, Rat stands up, kind of looks into a bottle, and like angrily tosses it into the distance
Mixshake ruined!
as he stomps and sits back down and returns organizing.
Brooke moves to the other side of the ingredients and crouches down to you with a very gentle, almost motherly smile, is how it would be interpreted as other people, but surely if she's crouching down, she's being demeaning to you. And she asks, hey, are any of them broken? Anything that I can help with for you?
He kind of grumbles a little bit, looks up at her, looks back down, and kind of like moves in a circle around it to face with his back towards her as he continues organizing them and figuring out what's good and what's not.
If any of them are cracked, just let me know. I'll be glad to help.
He's not entirely sure how to engage with this person, and he is ignoring for now.
She gently and almost silently, like, gets up and moves to another person. You don't realize that she's left until you move around to another part of the circle and realize, oh, she's not there anymore. And with that, Hiroe and Kaio continue.
You could say repaying a debt.
I feel like I'm more repaying myself. I look at Hiroe. I look to see if there is any kind of sensitivity or softness in his expression or face, or if he seems cold. What do I see?
Definitely no softness.
Mm-hmm.
He's not cold, but the blinds are shuttered.
Fantastic. In a pitch to get himself out of a conversation with someone he doesn't think he can really relate to at this time, he will stretch his arms and say, well, I hate to be rude, but conversation's not going to get this caravan going any faster. Why don't we turn to business then?
Right. Entirely reasonable.
Tafred,
I
you're able
myself
to overhear just a little bit of a brief conversation between Brooke and Aspen. And the general gist of it is that she's going to work on fixing it momentarily, and she's in charge. And he moves over and begins analyzing some of their blood that got left behind, poking it, casting a little bit of gentle magic on it, and performing a variety of feats that you honestly don't understand. But what she's asking for, a little bit of help in just being able to lift up the cart so that she can reattach the wheel properly, is something that you can manage.
I'd like to help.
Absolutely.
Who all is helping?
Tefford is absolutely helping. So when I ask for help, he's getting in on it.
Yeah,
I'll
I'd
tell you
like to
who's
help
not
as well.
helping.
So I'm too pretty to help.
I have muscles, I'd like to use them.
Your bodies are battered and sore, even more so as you heave up the cart. But as she's able to put it in place and begin to properly mend the seams that will actually hold the wheel to its shaft, it's a good start. And after about 15 minutes or so of repairs, including a few repairs on the bags that Rat had torn open, the caravan is ready to move on. She turns around and asks for everyone to make sure they don't leave anything behind.
Hiroi remembers that the last thing that he recalled is that he had been checking on his storage compartment in the cart, so he's going to go check on that really quick before they head out.
Yours is the foremost section in the cart. It's actually integrated into the cart itself as opposed to being a sack inside of it. And unlocking it, you're able to verify that everything is in place.
How many carts are there again?
There are 2 carts.
Does anything seem to be missing?
It has been well validated at this point that the only thing that is absent are a few extra rations, but they have brought more.
Fantastic. I'm comfortable going.
I'm gonna make sure that I have that the mask and shield
Yep,
are
everyone has everything.
safe and sound.
Rat goes off in the distance a little bit, and a couple sharp metal noises in the distance for any near, not too loud, but as he's off in the distance, he digs a little bit of a pit, kind of lays down, and there's just a bang as he nods a couple of times and makes his way back over.
What was that?
He ends up being rather shocked about that, having no idea what that was, and she ends up smiling and giving a bit of a laugh. You didn't tell me you knew any of that thunder magic.
He doesn't.
Rat kind of tilts his head
No.
as he kind of chortles a little bit. As he wraps the bag around his back, and all fours kind of sprints back to Hiraway, who he seems to be standing next to every single time that he is anywhere stationary. But even when he is stationary, he's still always fidgeting, moving in some way.
And with that, unless anybody else has anything else they'd like to do in this scene, we move on. Alright. The group of them end up explaining that they're still probably about 4 or 5 days out from actually getting to the next big settlement, where even though you're not going to be at Bastion yet, at least you'll be far enough along to get a good day's rest. There's a few inns there, and it's nice enough. I activate, and everybody should be dragging in. There we go. Since we are currently in a guided caravan, it moves for you. It is now the 12th. It is now the 13th. It's a fair bit of rough travel for a few of them, as some of the people are decently injured on their legs despite the healing magic provided, so the party has to move slightly slower of a pace than normal, moving only 2 tiles each day. 14th. And on the 15th day, the party makes it to a city.
Oh.
Let me go ahead and drag this over. Welcome to Midstone. It's a simple place. Not too much is going on. It's primarily a place where there's a lot of business activity going through due to the fact that there's a rather abundant forest nearby that's got plenty of good hard cedar. And it's a good place to mount crossing the river before heading over to the Shining City or to Bastion, depending on which way you're going. The party gets their rest for the nights paid for by the caravan that they've already been a part of. How do y'all choose to take your activities for the day and a half or so that you're here for your long rest?
Hero is going to try and reacquaint himself with the people from the caravan to, like, learn or relearn who they are, figure out who's worth knowing, actually introduce himself to Tefrid, since that just barely didn't happen.
And anywhere that Hiroe goes, a tiny little blue kobold follows in his wake.
For my part, if we're only here for about a day or so, I'm going to see what small amount of trouble I can cause.
Of
And hopefully
course.
no one will notice until I'm gone.
What kind of mischief would you like to do? It's a very simple town. There's probably only like 30 or so buildings.
So,
2 of them
little
are inns, a
things-
few of them are grocery-esque situations. A few of them
Little
are just
things.
people's homes, blacksmith, those sorts of things.
So like taking something from one person's periphery and moving it into somebody else's so that they think that that person stole from them, or like adjusting something so that it's just out of reach. Nothing that would cause real pain, but just like little surprises for them. It's not much, but I've been kind of bored during this travel, and it's a light entertainment for me, knowing what might follow in my wake.
Makes sense. You end up peering along the essentially board front as you walk through town, and you see that one of the places, the blacksmith, has a particular mug that they keep drinking out of in between reps of working on the current craft that he's working on. And at one point, when he turns around to start tending to heating up his tool again, you see an opportunity. Go ahead and give me a sleight of hand.
Oh, fantastic. I'm terrible at it.
Not terrible enough. As he's currently occupied somewhere else, you grab the mug and walk about 3 buildings over and decide that placing it down right beside a rocking chair of what seems to be an older couple seems like a perfect place to place it.
Very exciting. I won't get to see the results, but I will think about it on the drive away.
Curious as the trap maker's art.
His efficacy unseen by his own eyes. Is that it? His efficacy unseen by his own eyes?
I believe
Unwitnessed.
so. I believe so.
Unwitnessed.
Oh, witness. Okay.
Very true. I wouldn't know. I've never heard it. I always disarm the traps.
Sure.
There's a few basic supplies that you could purchase in Midstone if you needed it. You could do a bit of speculative good trading of buying either low or medium tier goods, but right now it seems like you are in quite a bit of a rush, so you don't really have time to focus on too much more than a little bit of window shopping if you are interested in perhaps buying a interesting cabinet or a decorative staff. And with that, the party has successfully long rested and has regained all of their supplies and all of their hit points, spells, all that jazz. The caravan once again begins to move out as they make their way towards Bastion. It is currently the 17th when you depart, and everyone is able to move at full pace of 3. And at the end of that day, you make it into the small lumber cutting town of Strester, just outside Midstone, from which you spend the night of the 17th. Before on the 18th, you continue making your way out. Let me get to the correct one. There we go. It is now the 18th when you leave that tile, moving up and to the left, which brings you here. And at the end of the 18th, you have made it here to Bartiza, also known as Bastion. As you get closer to Bastion, the city ends up being in a particularly well-defended area, much befitting of its title. It's situated on top of a rocky outcropping, a terrace that spikes up about 200 feet from most of its surroundings. Think very similar to the Grand Canyon or other parts of the American Midwest where there's a great plateau spiking up above the surrounding area. The route to get up to the top of it is a very winding and ultimately rather steep track that goes up the sides of it. It doubles back about 4 times, but eventually, with a little bit of elbow grease and a little bit of help from some of the locals, you're able to get all of the carts up. You've made it into the city. A small amount of supplies have been provided to each of you for being able to handle yourself for about a week and a half while you are present here. Make sure that you're able to actually spend a few nights at any of the inns. If you want to go anywhere more expensive than that, you can pocket it yourself. And the caravan owners have informed you that in about 8 days, the return trip happens, and you've all already paid for it, so it's up to you if you go with them or not. And with that, they turn you loose, and each of you can go your own separate ways on your own little adventures that you have in this town of yours. What does everybody do now that they're here on their first night in Bastion? It's probably about 2 hours till dusk.
I think at a baseline, Hero is going to do some like snooping around to see like what the local specialties are, if there are any.
Absolutely. In regards to trade or like food or what?
Yes.
All of the above.
Whatever is least time consuming. Okay.
Alright. Least time consuming is probably finding out a little bit about the trade. The primary exports from Bastion are that of information, as it's one of the key hubs where a lot of people who go out exploring further into the Wilderlands actually come back to before heading to any of the other areas, since it's kind of very far out there, as well as quite a lot of game trade. The sorts of furs and ivories and like different animal meats or like plant harvesting, all of those sorts of things are in abundance here. A lot of it's overpriced for anyone who's actually trying to bring it somewhere, because it's not there to be eaten. It's there to be bought and sold to someone else even farther away so that it can be a very exotic meal. There's a few that are selling local game, but it's not as exciting and it's not too different from any other sort of game that you'd find anywhere.
Okay.
Rat, and while Hiroe was looking around for things, would kind of tug on his leg.
Metal buy. Forge need.
I can spare a couple silver.
Nowhere. Much.
Hero is going to inquire where Rat can find some metal.
Actually, go ahead and give me a bartering check, which is just a default charisma since you don't have any of the tools or proficiencies for it. It's good enough. You end up going around and you end up finding a decently priced, like, few different pieces of metal at one of the local forgers. Are you looking for more steel, more iron? What are you doing? Just whatever's cheapest? What you want, Radio?
He's looking mostly for any hard metal. Like it doesn't need to be the best ingot. He just needs something that's solid, like a copper ingot, an iron ingot, like even
The
like
best
a pig
thing you're
iron
probably going to
ingot.
get then here for are you caring about price, or since Hero is footing it, are you just going to grab whichever one feels heaviest?
He's gonna grab the one that like he will hit multiple of them, and he's just gonna feel the one that grab the one that feels not necessarily the heaviest, but the one that feels the brittlest. So
Gotcha.
like very hard, but if it takes too much stress, it'll just break instead of bending.
You end up pocketing a rather dark ingot of metal, which after putting it in your pocket and kind of moving away, he turns and looks at Hero, shrugs a little. What are you gonna do? And after a little bit of conversation, you, Hero at least, is able to figure out that that's a rock steel ingot, which is essentially a sort of dirty iron, dirty steel mix. It's not necessarily weaker, it's just not as useful for armor or weapons. So,
Pig iron.
because it tends to be able to break apart rather easily, it ends up being a, fuck, I had it open just a moment ago, hold on. I think it was like 2 silver. Yeah, it's 2 silver.
Simple enough.
If you want to go ahead and
Very
put that
simple.
2 encumbrance stone steel ingot in your inventory, Mr. Rat.
You got it.
And I trust, Mr. Hero, that you have subtracted 2 silver from yours.
Aye, aye.
Fantastic. Transaction is done. Mr. Alba. Sir Tefford.
Yes. I am going to find a local circle of chatter. Perhaps it is a local inn. And I'm going to begin asking if people around here have heard the name Hattius before.
Go ahead and give me a... I'll say blank charisma, because I don't think you have any of the socializing skills.
Correct.
He is not a carouser.
No. He is not a carouser.
He is not a carouser. He tries. Most of the people end up just
Wait,
kind
it's
of
not a natural
gently
one.
ignoring
Shit,
you.
It's not a natural one.
A few of them end up saying they just don't know. You end up spending most of the night until it starts being tired enough that it's time for the next day.
I wonder if any of those guys can help me out at asking this.
Remind me, what did you do?
Oh, I didn't say. But I will be finding a place to drink and to talk to the locals so that I can get kind of an understanding of, like, what do people like to do here? And if I can find a mark, then I will certainly be taking advantage of that as well.
You make your way around the city, just kind of loitering, laundering, and wandering, and end up coming across a few different inns, a few different places that you could find a good drink. And the one that is most interesting is a place called The Edge, which overhangs off of, you guessed it, the edge where the plateau goes slightly over the river, and you can just see out into the boundless wastes of that somewhat sandy, somewhat grasslandic expanse that goes out as far as the eye can see over the river. Go ahead and give me a intelligence check with any, if you have any like thieving tool proficiency or anything like that. Go ahead and give me one of those with int.
I don't.
All right, then just go ahead and give me an int. You end up
15.
you end up being able to find somebody who you think could be a decent target. They don't seem so rich that they'd be able to be, properly punitive, but there's a little bit of action going on in there. He's having a few drinks. He's chatting it up with a woman as he's staring out and giving these big gestures over the plains in front of him. And his back pocket just so happens to have a little, little coin pouch hanging right there. It's a decent spot. Could probably happen.
So, using my telekinetic feat, I'd like to see what I can make happen here with my invisible mage hand.
All right, go ahead and give me a sleight of hand with your spellcasting mod.
Very exciting. Oh, that should be... Well, it's not very good. 6 plus 3, so a 9 total.
All right, you are unable to unhinge it, but it is subtle enough that you're able to just bump into him and him not think any more of it.
Ah, excellent.
Hey.
I breathe a sigh
Sorry,
of relief.
sorry, bud. This seat's taken. If you want to, go somewhere else.
Sorry, just a little bit too much to drink. And then I move on my way.
And with that, the evening of the 19th has concluded, and we are on to the 20th. That means it's the start of a new Bastion turn. Isn't that wonderful? Let me see on my little random sheet. It shows that the 3 people we have to roll for it are gonna be Albatross, Ara, and BBQ Time.
Okay.
So, who here needs a refresher on what we actually do at the start of the Bastion turn?
Me.
That's good enough. One's all it takes. So, a Bastion turn has a few different things that we're doing that are added to this specific session. Let's cut the music for a moment. The big things are that weather gets determined. We figure out if there's any sort of encounters, be it city encounters, monster encounters, or anything else. And you guys get to choose a few things to handle. So, first, a weather table. Who wants to roll on the weather table?
I mean, I'm a Tempest
Roll.
cleric. I'd love to.
Oh yeah.
They would love to. So, I'm going to open up the weather effects in food section. Do you see in the top right where it says rollable tables?
I do.
Fantastic. Right now, you are in a Savannah Warm Hills sort of area, so it has a +2. Additionally, it is the middle of high sun for an additional, for I think a -2. Yeah, -2. So it's just 2d4. It has been set to 2d4. Go ahead and hit roll on that for me.
Weather effects in food?
Yep, that's right.
Nice.
That is a very high roll. That is almost the highest. That is +7. It is not supposed to be +7. Did I not hit update? Ah, there we go. All right. Either way, a 4 is the result because it is neutral. A 4, it is a rather hot week. If anybody ends up traveling this week, you know what, I'm just going to set this to actually be roll 4. All right, hit roll again.
Sure.
Wow, it's hot. That's crazy.
Hmm.
How'd that happen? He just happened to roll a 4 as well. There you go. There's the effects of it being hot.
Yes.
It is a rather hot day. I mean, it's the middle of the summer month. It's high sun, and you're in an area where it's starting to get pretty hot naturally. But at least it's not a very hot day, so that's good.
It's my least favorite weather.
It's gonna be that way for about 2 weeks. Normally, next we'd go on to say everybody's gonna have eaten all of the food they're going to be doing for this coming week, 2 weeks. But you don't have to consume your 10 rations because you're currently in a city and it's part of standard expenses. That would only be the case if you were out traveling about. If you're moving around, we'd make an exploration roll, but we don't have to do that, so that's good. What we do have to do is do a threat roll, which means I want 3 of you to do a blind GM roll to me of just a flat d20.
Do it.
All right. BBQ's 1. Who else?
Sure.
And who else? Aura, how about you?
Okay. I just rolled something, so I didn't think I'd be doing this one as well. Is it just a?
Just a blind GM roll, d20. If you selected, over the chat box.
I think I actually know how to do this.
Woohoo!
Yeah, I think I did it right.
All right, the 3 of you have done it. I have gotten my monster rolls.
Oh.
Next, learning progress. We can dive into learning much more at a later date. We'll cover that a bit later. Just everybody should know that you're going to have 1 bastion turn of banked learning progress for us to cover later. So the last thing to have happen is, what is everyone's lifestyle expense that they are choosing to live right now? This is more than just saying, hey, I'm being poor for economic reasons. This is actually kind of important to be how your character is viewed in society. Currently, this are what it normally would say in the player's handbook, this per day. Instead, that is per... Why did that happen?
I hit a button that I shouldn't have.
Weird. Normally the lifestyle expenses would be as follows on this chart that I'm gonna send your guys' way. Keep in mind that this is per week instead of per day, given the fact that things happen over longer in inflation, but it's the same numbers, so that's what's important.
Okay.
Normally it would be like Squalid would be 1 silver per day. Instead, it's 1 silver per bastion turn.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Because as it turns out, dividing by 10 and multiplying by 10, it just works out.
I see.
Metric.
Mm-hmm. So true. Didn't
So you're
even
telling me-
intend to be that way.
You're telling me that a bastion turn is a fortnight?
Whoa. He's true. He's right. So, currently, you're being slightly subsidized. So a living condition of poor or better is instantly afforded to you. You only have to pay going up from there. So like 8 silver for modest or 18 silver for comfortable, etc. This will help determine how people view you, how you're able to socialize, how you make trades while you're here, those sorts of things. Kaio, what living condition you think you're going for here?
Definitely poor. I don't like spending money unnecessarily, but I will be looking for ways to subsidize it while I'm here.
Alright. Well, you're already completely subsidized for poor.
That's not what I mean when I say that. I mean taking money from
So,
people.
no changes for your money, and you're set to poor. You better remember that, because I probably won't. So I'm trusting you to have that written down right now.
Kaio, you're a broke. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna say-
broke ass bitch. Speaking of,
Okay,
Alba,
so someone did. Okay.
Alba, what about you?
Tefrid is going to be taking a modest lifestyle.
That's fair. That'll do it.
Damn, look at Mr. Moneybags here.
Go ahead and take off 8
Didn't
silver
say that.
from your thing for the week, and mark down modest right now.
24 and then 2.
Senior Ratty Rat.
Where would I mark
Rat
that to?
is taking what he is subsidized. He is living in a poor. He doesn't have money, really. He still doesn't quite understand it.
Does Hiroi let Rat take a poor
Hiroi
lifestyle
can't
right
let
now?
himself. Hiroi can't let himself.
What will Hiroi do?
And Hiroi is going to take what is subsidized with him.
Ah,
Because the courtier background starts with 5 gold, which means it's actually 5 silver.
that is fair. Womp womp. Luckily for Mr. Alba, he gets to live in a place that actually offers breakfast complimentary and has a little bit of different variety on it. The rest of you kind of just go rather economically, spending about a third of your days just going around doing a very small amount of tasks. Not really for other people, but more so just making sure that you can get things cheaply by going shopping at different places rather than buying meals that are being made by people, buying a few of the ingredients and cooking it up at the inn yourself, those sorts of things. You're making do. Over the course of these next 3 or 4 days that go by, eventually, a few things happen on the same day. Kaio, you get a little bit of free time. What do you do?
Well, I go right back to what I was doing earlier and try and find,
He's going back to the edge. All right, we'll come back to you.
well, not the edge specifically.
No. You're going back to the edge, and we'll come back to you at the edge.
Oh boy, okay.
Mr. Alba,
Mm-hmm.
go ahead and give me, since you rolled on modest, you're actually like able to socialize with people over the time while you're here. Go ahead and make me another one with advantage.
Hooray! That didn't roll with advantage.
You don't have to roll it a
Yeah.
second time. You can actually, you see how where it says like 6 and 9? You can
I
press
do
like the
see
up
that
arrow.
now.
Yeah,
Okay.
fantastic.
That's new. I'm not used to that.
Yeah, that is completely new. Luckily for you, due to the fact that you're actually putting a little bit of presence into it and making yourself a little bit known, just a little bit, you can actually you manage to pick up a few leads and eventually figure out they're at one of the 3 towers. You head over to one of them. You enter through the front door. You ask the resident speaker at the front if they happen to know that they're here, and they're able to confirm that he's here. What do you want to know?
See, a little while ago, I stumbled across some interesting artifacts in the woods, in the wilds.
Part of
I
that
was
crowd. Some of his work
Yes.
buddies, I say.
Sure. I would like to know if he recognizes what I found. Maybe I can get a bit of a lead. I haven't found anyone who can yet. I've heard he can.
Well, if you want to try, you're welcome. Don't know if he'll be awake by now. Strikes you as particularly odd because it's kind of midday.
Oh, that's okay. I'll wait.
She gives you a room number, and you walk your way up the tower. You make your way on the 4th floor, the room where his door is just to the south here.
I'm gonna walk up and I'm gonna knock. And then,
There is no response.
gonna knock again, a little bit louder.
There is no response.
Well, I'm sure he's busy. I bet I could just wait out here, and I'm going to take a seat over in the corner for approximately 30 minutes.
Well, luckily for you, about 20 minutes later,
Okay.
the door ends up opening, and from the other side of it, or rather, both somewhat elderly, but also still respectably in shape man, makes his way out from it and closes the door behind him.
Oh, hello. Yes, are you Mr. Hadius?
Depends who's asking.
Tefred Brandywood.
Ah, okay. Yes, sorry. My apologies, friend. I didn't... Just, all the way out here, there's a fair bit of people who wouldn't be doing the best by you, but no, I heard they told me you were coming. Yes.
That's great. Can I ask you a question? Who's they?
I mean... Do you, as a player, not remember, or is this the memory part going?
This is the memory part. I do not have this.
I thought you did.
Nope.
Okay. Yeah, that's a fair point. I didn't say that, so that's fair. Good, as good a time as any to expedite that. He explains that some of the people in the city itself, in the Shining City, sent him a thing saying that a halfling was going to be coming by and like asking about it.
Oh, perfect. Shining City. Good to know. Very good to know. Anyway, so it was it was years ago at this point, but I did want to show you this. I'm gonna first bring out the mask and just put it over my face. How much bigger is this mask than my face, by the way?
Not much, actually. It's pretty much the same size.
Oh, that's actually interesting. All right, I'm gonna put it up to my face. Have you seen this before?
He takes it, he holds it, he kind of places it on the windowsill here for a moment, while he then adjusts the windows to let in a fair bit more light, and actually observes it a little more before handing it back to you.
Or this, and then I'm gonna take out the
Hold
shield.
on. Oh, he interrupts you. He points at the carpet. Grab
Yes.
that for me.
The whole carpet?
Like just the corner.
Oh yeah, okay, cool. I'll grab
And
it.
he grabs the other corner, and you guys slide it up out of the way, and he unlatches a hatch underneath it before making his way down the stairs before turning around and beckoning you along.
Aren't we on the 4th floor?
He looks at you and says, "And?"
All right.
You
That's
spend
not
about
quite-
20 minutes there. He's both cross-referencing some of his notes that he has down there, as well as doing a very minor amount of magical analysis, and he's able to give you a pretty decent answer. He prefaces it by saying that it's one that isn't widely acknowledged by a lot of the community, but if it's one that if they sent you down here, it means that they didn't have the answer, so
Mhm.
it's good a shot
No
as
one's-
any. Given
Yeah,
the
no-
area that you said you found it in, and given its size and shape, my best guess would be that it's from some of the Atwenti dwarfs. You know about them?
Do I know about them?
I mean, do you?
I don't think so.
I mean, if you don't know about them, you don't know about them.
Yeah, no, I don't. No idea. No, this is a first.
Yeah, he ends up giving a
Thank you.
pretty brief explanation about how the Atwenti dwarves are supposedly, according to him, some of the dwarves that ended up living in the southern mountain chain as opposed to the northern one. A lot of dwarves end up pretty heavily refuting that idea that there could have been dwarves down here, because like all of their histories only talk about the northern mountains. And supposedly the southern mountains are cursed, but there's a lot of caverns and stuff that they found, and given the area and given its rough size, as well as a few of the markings, that would be his best guess. But in exchange for that, you're taking me for drinks. I'll tell you more about it.
Okay, that makes sense to me. Seems like a fair deal.
You
How much
climb
could
out.
one old man drink anyway?
He actually laughs rather heavily. All right, Rat, here away.
I know about Rat, but I would like to try and find Tefrid.
Rat would obviously, as always, primarily be following Hiraway because, God forbid, he gets lost in this city on his own.
Yeah, there's a big hustle and bustle. There have probably been, considering that you're on day 4 or so, there have probably been about 3 different times that Rat's almost been trampled.
So he's keeping himself close, and at any point that that there starts to get more foot traffic, he climbs his way up Hiraway's leg onto his shoulder, and while at one of those points where there's a little bit more hustle and bustle, Rat kind of pokes his snout forward to catch Hiraway's eye, and kind of tilts his head.
Remember talk. Kobold bar owner?
All right.
Like,
What
look,
about it?
meet. See how live among.
As he kind of gestures at your existence.
All right. You join me to meet Tefrid. I'll join you to meet the barkeep.
He kind of looks down a little bit. A little bit of buffering. Nods his head.
Fine.
Good to hear.
Oh, and Needforge sometime.
Right. We might have to wait until we get back to the city. I doubt they'll let you borrow a forge here.
They don't need no.
You make your way from bar to bar, trying to find one. The idea of some places you end up getting rather offended at because you ask if a kobold owns the area, and you kind of get laughed out, which, much to Rat's desire to cause a bit of a scene, Hero is able to at least somewhat refrain it from breaking out into something problematic enough. Until eventually you get to one that seems to fit the bill more. It's not quite a kobold that owns it. There's a kobold working there who seems to be in very well respected regards.
The Edge. Huh. I remember hearing about this place. Don't remember what I heard about it, but
You hear a lot, not think much.
to be fair, we all lost some deal of our memory.
No.
I knew.
He kind of grumbles and speaks in Draconic. What I mean is, it doesn't mean much. You hear a lot.
Right. Let's head in then.
He is still on your shoulder.
Okay.
And not like sitting on your shoulder, kind of hanging along the back of your shoulder.
He's like a gargoyle.
A little bit, yeah.
There's a single person in one of the corners who is playing 2 different instruments to help set the scene. A rather veteran dwarf barkeep is managing the bar itself, as well as cooking up a stew for later in the evening. He's got a few different weapons on the rack behind him, all very well bolted to the wall. It's not too busy. It's probably about 30% capacity. A decent amount of the chairs are filled, including, at least I think Hero would be able to recognize the friendly faces that came in with him on the caravan.
Well, you're in luck, Rat. We don't need to make multiple stops.
As he sort of like turns a little bit to Jelly on your shoulder as he's relaxing a little bit from the stress of having to go somewhere else. He sort of tilts his head.
So first what?
Well, we can probably do both at once. If you want to meet with the barkeep, I'll be just a bit with Tefrid.
It kind of narrows his eyes as he takes his goggles off, entering the as they like fully get into the establishment.
It ends up
Squints
being
his
a
eyes.
lot brighter than you would have expected, causing you to squint a bit more. A lot of the reflection from the semi-barren wastes ahead end up giving it this natural illumination, where it bounces off a lot of the planes and up onto the ceiling here, giving it this wonderful radiant glow that kind of illuminates the entire place in this very nice natural light, despite being very indoors.
Why it's so too bright?
As he kind of slides his goggles back on.
Don't leave without.
Of course not.
As he takes a bound from the shoulder and definitely does not stick the landing. He sort of looks around, pulls his bag off of him, and like holds it up as high as he can, kind of standing on his tippy toes, trying to hand it to Hiraway.
Hiraway takes it and shoulders it.
He nods and scurries away.
And with that, Hiraway flags Tefrid down with a wave.
Oh! You! Hold on. Sorry, sir. 1 second. Yeah, you. Tefrid's gonna scramble down off of his, off of his stool and walk over. You're the guy who saved my life! Thank you!
I suppose I am. I hope that you would do the same if our situations were reversed.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
The older man sits back in his stool and looks over. So, Tefrid, who's your friend?
That is a very good question. I don't think we properly introduced ourselves. Sorry about that. It was hectic.
He gives you a bit of a side
to
eye and
apologize.
just gives you a bit of a smirking smile as he looks over to you out of the corner of his eye.
Nakaku Hiraway, Court of Sky.
Pleasure to meet you. Cajun Hadishus.
A pleasure.
What you
Is there
doing
room
around here
one more
for?
table? I am part of the same expedition as our friend here. As our mutual friend here, I should say.
Yeah, he pulled my butt out of the river before I drowned.
Good for the both of us.
Yeah.
Is there room for one more?
Absolutely. Let me get you a drink. Hold on. It's the least I can do.
Many thanks.
Hiraway is able to
Sir.
pull a stool from the other table and set it at this one. The other one is now completely bereft of stools, but this one has a few extra now. More than it would normally, at least. Enough for all of you. Given that you already are in your neutral lifestyle, you're able to pretty easily pay for everybody's drinks because it's just a small little outing. So I know why he's here. What about yourself, Mr. Skycourt?
Opportunity and connections. And an opportunity to make connections.
Lots of people say that. It's a place for that. Certainly a ways to do it. What I want to know is why, of all the places you could choose to make connections, you'd be doing it about as far from anywhere as you can get while still being somewhere.
Because making connections here is how I make connections back at the Shining City.
Means to an end. Alright. So anyway, Tefrid, as I was saying, I think that they're saying that they couldn't have been that big of a network because they didn't have magic. I think they had some sort of network holding everything together and letting them actually be able to traverse all the way from one end of the mountains to the other.
But do you think it was magic, though, or do you think it was all natural? Well, magic is natural. Or do you think it was all...
I think if it
done by-
was magical, it was probably some sort of infusion for it. From, I mean, even nowadays, the dwarves can struggle to actually be casting magic through themselves. And from the records from at least the northern Vulcan, that general time period was one where none of the dwarves were able to cast magic directly, so it stands to reason that perhaps the same was true down there.
Makes sense to me. How well explored are these caves, these caverns? I know they exist, but how much more do we know about them than that?
He goes over and pulls out a map. So, you said you came through the Shining City, right?
Yes.
Did you happen to go up to Lalo while you were there?
I don't know.
All right, I'm gonna have to get used to that. That's gonna be the answer
same
to
here.
a lot of things, huh?
This is really weird. It's weird for both of us. Hero A, is this happening to you too? By the way, I
To some
don't know,
degree, yes.
so I can't seem to recall everything.
As I heard it, we were attacked by blink dogs.
Rough, very rough.
they
Nasty
did
little
say that.
buggers.
Annoying.
It's important as you lived. Real lethal, those things.
I think they were just after the food.
He rummages around his pack. I still have these from a few of the times that I ended up traveling to the city when it was starting out, but at this point I don't really see myself needing to leave the city anymore, or leaving Bastion anymore, so might as well let one of you have it. And he puts forward a few goggles that have this particularly evasive sheen on them that leaves them with a very dark purple.
Oh. Gonna start fiddling with them. These are phenomenal. Oh, these would guard very well against the elements.
They're dark, but that's what you need sometimes.
Yeah, that sun can get bright. Your friend has a pair, not like these, but like, I think, are they darker than these?
No, they're much brighter. Rats. Actually, Rat can go in and describe them. If Rat is here.
Pardon, repeat one more time.
Your goggles. Describe your goggles.
Oh, it is a pair of almost shoddily, it seems, thrown together leather straps and little polarized glass domes that make up almost what look like modern day swimming goggles that fasten around Rat's head in almost a helmet-esque fashion, giving off these little silver bulbs where his eyes would normally be.
So not like these at all then. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, there was a glassmith north of Mardo that I'm pretty good friends with. We brought a lila fruit up there, broke it down, made those. I think they worked out wonderful. He's got a pair. If you ever end up being in the area, you should be able to find them because he never wants to leave the place. He's, if I'm being honest, a bit paranoid about it. Even though blink dogs don't end up being that far north, he'd rather be safe than sorry. So, all right. Point stands. Neither of you remember being to Lalo Peak?
Not quite, no.
No.
We should probably work on fixing that.
I think I would remember a place like that.
So Lalo Peak's a mining place over by the city. There's been chances are if it's nearby there's been a lot of exploration. But, I mean, to ask how well charted these are, that mountain range goes on for nearly, 400 miles? I remember down at, what's the name? He gives you the name of a city. It's one that's in the Volstrom territories that just barely runs up against the border of the mountains that's along the coast. He basically just describes that it's the same sort of stuff that he found up by Cairo and down by there. So, you know, that's a lot of ground to cover. There's probably thousands of places that are unexplored.
Fascinating.
But
Seems like a good
he
place to-
gestures to the wide open plains across from y'all. Well, behind y'all. There's also probably hundreds of thousand places that way too. That's why a lot of people are out here, and that's why it's a city where everybody gets to talk and everybody gets to learn about all these new wonderful things going on. And why I'm here to catalog it.
Oh, I just love it.
Admirable work.
It pays well.
I can imagine.
It does? Oh, that's
does.
even better.
Well, mine does. If you want to get paid well, you can't just go out there and just start looking. You got to find a job that's nearby. You remember bounty boards?
Let's say yes, because I, the player, do.
Yeah, sure. You, it jogs your memory so that your player remembers, you know, your character remembers after he says it. He remembers, oh yeah, bounty boards are a thing. Each of the 5 guilds ends up semi-regularly putting out a few postings of different jobs that they need either a small selection of or a large mass of people. So after you're done here, you can go and see if there's any jobs in the nearby area to they'll pick.
I'll keep that in mind.
Meanwhile, right over on the side, tending to performing a rather intense prep work of meal, a kobold chef dressed meticulously well, at least for non-kobold society, ends up working deviously on the food in front of them. The knife is like a finger, and the other 6 knives are like 6 other fingers.
My. Rat kind of inches across the wall, kind of just fascinatedly looking, taking interest in something for the first time in a while that isn't his own stuff, as he's kind of just watching almost mesmerizingly as the knives go up and down, cutting through things. He's taking a moment to actually admire the art of another now that it's a kobold.
As they're doing so, they eventually take one of the platter knives, slices through one of the vegetables, slides it underneath a piece of meat, and flings it over to you.
He reaches up to catch it.
They end up, yeah, so true, actually. The glasswork town that, it's not a glasswork town, it's just that north of there was a glassworker front. It was Mardo. Mardoh. Mardo. They end up eventually throwing out a few words to you in Draconic, being like, now remember, you shouldn't try doing this yourself. I know it'll make it look easy, and eventually they end up flashing and showing that, like, they're missing 2 of their fingers in their left hand.
Rat nods a couple of times. No, I'm very much away.
They drag the knife along the back of their hand, along that area, and then suddenly all of their fingers are there.
He blinks a couple of times. Are you a sage?
They reach down, grab a tiny little packet of a little bit of dust and sprinkle it on it and start, swirling it around and getting just a bunch of what's probably a cinnamon equivalent. Is just kind of in the air as they fancily, use the knives as wand and does a little bit of juggling with magic missile, that sort of stuff. They're
Ah,
clearly very performative about it and ends up being encapsulatory enough for you to eventually start having a very casual conversation on top of it after the awe has began to settle in.
Mm-hmm.
So what brings you to town, friend? I have to say, I've never seen anyone quite like you. Beautiful. That's beautiful scale you got.
He kind of brushes his arm. Thank you. I'm mostly just following one of the taller ones, the bigger ones. He's red. I know
Never
his
knew
name.
it.
His name is Hiraway. I should say that. I heard in this area there was another kobold who did things around here, owner of a bar, doing something in a bar. We were attacked by blink dogs, so memory's a little bit fuzzy, but
That's rough, kid. Lucky enough not to have had it myself, but from what I've heard, it tends to go away after a few weeks. Should be back as blue, I guess.
here's hoping, if only it's back as blue as I am. How do you do it? Not the, as he kind of gestures with the like knife motions, not the knives of magic or whatever, but I don't know, live among all these.
My ambition outweighs my hate. It's that simple. If I want to keep practicing and keep getting better, got to be where the best competition is.
But isn't it
Unfortunately, that
miserable?
means it's here. But then again, they're not all too bad. Just most of them.
I do have one, the one I'm with, that isn't the worst possible, but I guess I'm out and around for the same reason. It surprised me that there was other kobolds that were also out. Is your den close? Your family near?
Would be, but aren't. You know how it goes sometimes.
Suppose.
Then you notice that they give a bit of side eye to Kyle for a moment before continuing on their little bit of performance while they're cooking it up.
That one is, as he kind of gestures to Kyle, that one was on the cart with us. I saw you looking at him.
Well, he's been in here about half an hour and he hasn't ordered a damn thing.
Rat kind of narrows his eyes. My name's Nock, by the way, as he starts moving up the stairs towards Kyle.
He, in closing out in Draconic, gives you just a simple Grix and good luck.
He kind of scurries up to Kyle and just kind of looks up at him.
Oh, hello. Rat, right? It's been, what, a day or so?
Looks like Blink Dog's not hurt you too much.
No, not that I recall. And there's a bit of a laugh because he is making a joke, but he's not sure if it's going to land.
He does give a little bit of a chortle, though you can't tell if he's laughing at you or with you.
Mm-hmm.
And here, bit, not eat food. Come order.
As he kind of gestures his hands up.
Ah,
Save your must hungry.
well, yes, I just was sort of... now, as I understand it, this is overlooking a vast area. So I like to think Kaio's just been kind of like standing there staring out into the distance, kind of enjoying the view.
Yeah.
It's rather sparse, not quite shrublands. It's a good mix of of like dirt, sand, along with a lot of bushes, a few occasional trees. I'd say a little bit of a sparse savanna is probably the best way to put it.
It's not what's there as much as the sensation, the open air, and the possibility that it brings. And he kind of starts talking about that to Rat as they are walking over to get some food, and then realizes that he's kind of speaking too much and stops.
One of the things that you end up finding in contemplation is one that hadn't really struck you too much until you got to a place literally called the Edge, is that there's not too much farther of a place to run if you try. Which means that either you gotta strike it out even further to somewhere where not too many other people will find you, for better or for worse, or you gotta come up with a different plan. Because this
Trust me,
there ain't any time to keep going as is.
Trust me, I'm thinking about it as I'm staring off here into the middle distance.
Yeah, sorry.
Right.
I'm more so elucidating for the rest of the party in a dramatic irony kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
So you said you were kind of talking about this to Rat.
Yeah,
originally, like as we were walking.
My philosophical, just staring out, looking at possibility as it spreads ahead of us, and then trailing off.
And he kind of just like looks up and down and kind of like shakes his head a little bit.
Well, you topskins talk so much, say nothing.
You're right, but makes me feel a little bit better.
He kind of shrugs
But hungry.
as he kind of gestures, almost like standing behind you, kind of pushing your shins.
Right. Where exactly are you pushing me?
You are getting generally pushed towards the kobold chef.
Ah. Hello? Oh, I should probably... I'll take a seat and leave a spot for Rat if you'd like to join me.
Rat does jump up.
They look at you for a bit, wiggle their finger at you, and then... Riverfish all right?
Oh, yes.
Riverfish it is! And they waddle away.
Can I tell if it sounds like she's going to go find a fish in a river?
You can certainly have that interpretation if you wish.
Rat looks very happy with himself.
I guess not too long ago, we ourselves were the river fish.
Talk much, say nothing.
As he sort of is like just kind of like staring a little bit.
Eventually they come back with a small little red gem, as well as a fish, and off on the side, a small... It looks kind of like a big piece of salt, which they hand to Rat. I don't believe Rat would know what this is. However,
Rat is kind of just holding it. It's just in his hand, and he's kind of just looking at it. Like a toddler that's been handed something that they don't know what it is. It's just kind of in his hand as he looks at it and around.
That's a good question. Now that we're in a social setting, that seems like a good time. How tall is everyone?
Well, I'm 5'11".
Rat is obviously very short-coated.
2'2".
Oh.
Oh my god.
The kobold's not too much taller. They're probably only about 4 feet, but that's decently tall for a kobold.
That's like almost twice his height.
Oh my god.
Rat is a runt.
Yeah, Teffert's like 3'1".
Oh my god. Hero is like 5'10".
Oh, we're the same height.
And how tall is a mysterious stranger who has not made an appearance? You!
Yeah, I haven't made an appearance.
Okay, fair enough.
Big green, you.
They end up saying in Draconic, eat it.
The whole thing?
I mean, not at once. Just don't swallow it. Just, you know, and don't
it's a
chew
rock.
too hard.
He kind of shrugs and licks it a couple times.
It is incredibly sweet. It is delicious.
He looks
don't-
down at it, looks
I don't
back
know
up.
if Rat knew they were a sweet tooth, but I think Rat now knows that they are a sweet tooth.
Rat gets into a very comfortable position. His tail is kind of curled up beneath him. He was originally kind of half on the seat, jittering around, but for the first time in a while, he is very still. His body is not moving a whole bunch as he's just got it in his hands and he's licking it.
Meanwhile, they take the other rock that's this red crystal, break it into a few tiny little pieces of dust in a little container, give it a little blow, and suddenly it sparks into fire as they begin cooking the fish in front of Kaio in a way that ends up ends up being a little bit like home with how dexterously and easily they end up handling severing the fish and scaling it and everything in just like single clean motions all the way across, doing massive amounts of work with very little movement.
It's very beautiful.
Anyway, I think everyone here is obtaining a lot of what they've set out to do.
Absolutely.
Indeedly do.
A few more thematic moments happen in the edge. It starts to get a little busier. The sun starts to get a little lower. It's probably 5 or 6 o'clock. It'll be starting dinner in a little bit, but you'll eat just before that, so it's entirely up to you. Conversations have been had. Kaio's been a little bit of a fish out of water among 2 kobolds. And Hiroe is trying his best not to be red with embarrassment, because there shouldn't be too much embarrassment going on, but the mid-afternoon progresses decently well. I'd like y'all to add anything you'd like to the scene.
I'm just canonizing the fact that I'm going to continue trying to make jokes because I want to see people laugh. And at least Rat, and I don't know if the chef, are not really into it.
Do you want to make a persuasion?
Sure. Oh. That was a blind GM roll, but let me know how
That
how
was
goes.
that was an 8 that became a 13.
Nice.
It is up to Rat how the 2 of them respond. Between total ignorance telling off, or at least hiding a small laugh, that is up to him.
He doesn't hate them. It's not annoying like most attempts at humor that he finds are. He doesn't find it particularly funny because he's not in a mindset to find anything that Kaio says funny. But
If Kaio said, I'm a self-respecting individual, that would be funny.
yeah, if he was a kobold, Rat would probably be laughing.
The senses of humor are just too different, I think. But it's fine. I was enjoying himself.
But once Rat gets like 90% of the way through the crystal that he has, he will force himself to stop, kind of like puts the crystal down and puts both of his hands on his jaw to like stop himself, and then quickly gets out a little jar, a little file, that's the word, file, and crushes up the last bit of the crystal and puts it into the file and puts it away.
Let's hope he labels them properly so that he does not drink the acid.
In parentheses, he will not.
Delicious hydrochloric acid.
He will.
What about on the other side with the supposedly mature adults? You alright, Tefred?
I was about to say, who are you referring to? Tefrid is excitedly talking about cave systems and archaeology with this old man, while also trying his very level best to include Hiroi into the conversation as much as possible.
I wanted to make a proposition. Did you have any intentions of taking jobs in that area in the near future?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Would you mind if me and my companion aided you on one of those jobs?
Oh, I wouldn't mind at all. The more the merrier, and safety in numbers.
Good.
Besides, you already seem pretty reliable. Seems like you'd be a good guy to have around.
One of the things that he's been looking for lately is new types of ore. And if we're heading into the mountains, that seems like as good a place as any to find new and useful ores for him.
Oh yeah, that seems perfect.
And that aside, it's also a great way to familiarize ourselves with the lay of the land more.
Yeah. Always gotta be careful when you're scouting out here. Yeah, it sounds perfect.
It sounds like with that concluded, the three of you, and short after Rat in tow, after he realizes that they are leaving without him,
Hiroi would not have left without Rat.
well, I mean, I would imagine Hiroi would kind of stand up and,
Hiroi would stand up and start moving over to the other table and ask him if he's
Okay.
almost ready.
I wasn't sure if you'd wait at the door or not. I guess that is my fault for presuming.
So, realizing that the person that I've been kind of hanging out with is leaving with two other people that I joined with, I would like to try to, say hello. Realizing that we've all been in the same room and I haven't seen them. Now, whereabouts would this be happening? Like, here-ish?
I'd imagine,
probably
like,
would have been
Well,
like
Hiroi had
here.
walked
Yeah.
over to that, so we would still be in our chairs, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
I
believe
accidentally
I-
made a ghost Hiroi token.
Well,
Oh,
that's
never mind,
my
it's
fault
fine.
for dragging it then.
No worries.
I think that
Yeah,
happens
that's-
when both of us drag at the same time.
You just have to refresh, BBQ.
What?
You just have to refresh.
No, it's gone now.
Okay.
Are
Well-
you enjoying your night at the edge?
Towards Rat or Hiroi or...
Hiroi, because I've been talking to Rat this whole time, so I'm just kind of pleased to see a familiar face.
Oh, I wouldn't exactly call it a night at the edge. This was just one meeting after all. But yes, it was a fruitful meeting.
May I ask what about?
Opportunities, connections.
I'd like to walk up behind Hiroi. Hey, you want to go to the mountains?
I just kind of blink for, when?
Presumably after we get back to the Shining City.
Yeah.
Rat kind of jump in one fluid motion, hops up onto the stool from a sitting position to a standing position.
Mountains.
Yeah, you're Hiroi's friend, right? What was your name?
Rat kind of just was looking at Hiroi and then kind of looks over and like why is this person talking to me? Looks back over to Hiroi mountains, he says to Hiroi again.
Yes, I recalled that you wanted to find new ores, and Tefrid here has business of his own that is likely to take him to the mountains. I thought it could be fruitful if the three of us took a job that took all three of us there, so that we might serve all of our purposes.
Would another hand help?
Oh, it certainly wouldn't hurt.
Absolutely. Said it earlier, more the merrier, safety in numbers.
Yes,
Baby
exactly.
Rat kind of grumbles and stomps a little bit, but kind of calms himself. He kind of puts his hands on his hips.
At least back pay for take to so many place with so many people.
I don't think I'm interested in exactly what you are, so you've got nothing to fear about me taking your cut? And I'm speaking to Rat when I say this.
No, no.
He looks at Hiraway. As he kind of opens his mouth a couple of times and resigns himself to having to speak his fluent language to Hiraway, which he hates, and it's clear he hates it when he does it. You owe this to me for taking me to so many places with so many of these people. I was so excited to finally get to some place with less people, and now we're taking more people, and at least it's not a city. At least it's not a city. At least it's not a city. So he's kind of spinning on his stool.
Of course. I hoped that the idea of ores would help pay you back for it.
He looks back over to Kyle
Fine can come, but no take touch.
as he actively points in his face.
What is that? I look to Hiraway, and I'm hoping that he can help me understand what that meant.
He does not want you to touch his things.
Oh,
At all.
I wouldn't dream of it.
Or anything that he might lay claim to.
I don't think I'm... Well, I don't know what he likes to claim, but I don't think I'm...
Useful
Interested
materials,
in him?
mostly.
I'm sorry?
Useful materials, mostly. Or materials that might be useful.
No, that doesn't really seem like my purview. I've got nothing
Rat
to
nods.
learn, I'm sure.
Rat nods a couple of times.
Yes, yes, can pack mule other things.
I raise an eyebrow, but I say nothing. I think I am probably the most physically fit of the people in this conversation, so I understand his point in saying that. Yes.
With that said and done, should we retire for the night and see what we can do tomorrow?
Well, may as well.
Sounds like a plan to me.
Rat nods.
Hopefully I see you again, Silver. They say to Rat as you head on out.
I hope to see you again too. I hope you can stomach this place for long enough to get what you need to get.
They keep doing a little bit of juggling with the knives, continuing to practice their showmanship that's partially for the practice of it and partially to try to show off against some of the few people who had just entered to draw their attention.
Kobold Hibachi.
Rat clears the space. Rat is inspired by this kobold and their willingness to put aside their own personal vendetta for their craft.
I hope, who knows, maybe that'll be inspiring for Rat someday, the idea of putting ambition above hatred. That is not the day.
Not yet. He's inspired by the idea of it. He's not inspired to do it.
Right. Damn, he went through his entire character arc in the first half of the first session. This
Oh,
sucks.
no.
Anyway, with the guidance of Sir John fucking Cadron Hacius, each of you make your way down to the bounty board. It's slightly out of date, but only by about 4 or 5 days, because it takes a little bit for a lot of the messages to get here, since it's not too important for this to be on high priority magic communications. You end up discovering the following information as you look for a cross-section of interests. Considering that your group, if you're first of all, are you sticking with the caravan on the way out back, or would you be willing to break from that and go on your own?
My vote is sticking with the caravan, but also I need to get paid, so I'm willing to break away if it means that we get paid earlier.
I could not agree more. At this point, increasing my financial wealth and health is more important to me than a little bit of comfort.
Rat, Alba?
Willing to move with the group. Don't have a preference one way or the
All
other.
right.
Yeah, Red is not informed enough. On this
Given that
decision-making.
cross-section of interests, there are two opportunities for you. First is one that kind of brings you in the opposite direction, but gives you a little bit more money now, but it skips on a different opportunity. So, first is a hunting expedition trying to track down a few different new types of monsters out past here and trying to collect the hide of a one particular, and Rat ends up wincing at the name only slightly, looking for the hide of the golden rat. There's
Yeah, I guess that is the rat
specific
that makes all the
spots for
rules.
the warren that the rat is actually a part of, and they're trying to assemble a group of anybody who's able to help disable and eventually capture it so that the guy can catch the pelt. If they end up getting the pelt or at least spotting it, every man in the group gets paid 2 gold.
That gets me right to my goal. Hard to pass up.
The alternative option is that with the caravan leaving on the 28th, there is a expedition doing a lot of geomantic surveys in the area to the northeast of Leilu. It's sponsored by the developmentalists, and over the course of a few days, they're requesting for as many people as they are able to have the required skills to do a bit of prospecting and or using a earth essence kit to actually take a few magic readings of where the earth is in the area for what they describe as simple prospecting, but is almost certainly probably more than that. It would begin on the 43rd, which would put you at slightly tight on time. You'd pretty much have to be very efficiently getting there at normal pace, but you can always go a little faster than is normally safe and get there with plenty of time to spare. The pay would be around a gold and a half for each general region charted,
For each person?
split across the group, but you could also do about 2 a day. So the sooner you get there, the more regions you'd be able to chart and search through and give accurate record on before other people got there and claimed that region first. Essentially a competitive survey where the faster you go through with good readings, the more you're able to get paid by traveling more tiles.
Kaya was not a mathematician, but this seems like it would be more difficult with possibly a higher pay, but also not as efficient.
Tefred has the particular opinion that the latter one would probably be more relevant because it lets him get pretty much exactly where a lot of the Ithwente dwarves are without having to go on his own.
Yeah.
I mean,
Rat-
That is a... Oh, go ahead.
Rat does input that he was promised rocks, and rats don't sound like rocks.
Very fair.
rats
That's
do
true.
not sound like rocks. He speaks wisdom.
And
I
prospecting
guess
might
it's
help
kinda
us
hard to
learn where the
throw 'em.
wars are. I'm sorry, what was that?
Oh, nothing.
Well, we briefly stopped back in We briefly stopped back in the city to restock on supplies. Then we immediately head to the meeting site.
Still need little bit time with forge and fuel.
Right, yes.
Which means that, given the
Yeah.
little bit of guidance that Kadron's here willing to provide, since Tefred's been such a nice soul and paid for his drinks and all that, you'd be able to reasonably say that if you went at the slightly extended pace of being able to move 4 tiles with all of those disadvantages that it incurs, you'd probably be able to get back to the city, have enough time to do that, and probably get up to the site if you can make sure you find it. He'd give his
Yeah.
advice to ask the people of Layla where it is before when you get up there, but that's about all the help he can provide for it before he wishes Tefred the best of luck, and then good luck to the rest of them.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Talk amongst yourselves for a bit. I will not be here. I'm going to go get some water.
Oh, how exciting.
Rat
We
kind
do
of looks
still
up to
have
hear
4
away.
days.
Sorry.
We do still have 4 days before we have to go. We may be able to find some time for you to borrow a forge in that time.
Rat nods a couple of times, but then kind of like opens his mouth and like tilts his head.
Who even was old gray dude?
A friend of Tefred's.
Kind of just throws his hands up.
Okay. Who was old gray dude?
He repeats again.
Tefred, are you
Yuri
with us?
looks to Tefred.
Yeah. Oh, he's a researcher here at here in town, here in Bastion. He put me on track to find some stuff that I've been really looking forward to knowing. That's in those mountains.
He nods a couple of times.
Okay.
He looks
Gave
up
us a
at your
job.
way
See, possible to be direct.
as he gestures at Tefred.
I know. I didn't know what he did though, so I gave the answer I could.
Yeah, no, that's on me. We should have introduced him properly.
No worries.
He just kind of rolls his eyes.
Speaking of introductions, hi, I'm gonna look up at Kaio.
Hello.
I don't think we actually got a chance to meet. You were in the water with our friend here when the caravan crashed.
Yes, and you survived.
Yes,
Great
very
info.
luckily.
Yes,
Hmm?
luck or attentiveness, but we're
Oh.
here, aren't we?
Absolutely.
And a little bit of a smile.
Nice to meet you, Tefred Brandywood.
Kaio. And I'll extend my hand for a handshake.
I'm gonna reach up and shake your hand.
I'm trying to get a sense of your general personality here. This is me speaking out of character.
Mhm.
What do I see when I look at you?
You're seeing a very bright and I don't want to use the bright smile, kind of a rounded face, big brown eyes, about very short curly brown hair, and the biggest little smile you've ever seen. He looks genuinely happy to be meeting you.
What a charmer. I am storing this information for later.
Yeah,
And it somehow has 8 charisma.
9.
The
9
Rizzler.
charisma, okay.
Now, what do you hope to find in these mountains? I mean, really, I'm just excited to be... What are you looking for?
Ruins, hopefully, or archaeological sites. This is the first lead I've had in a long time on this group of people I've been investigating.
And
It's been years.
why are you looking for them?
Found something I couldn't explain. You know how it is. And, if I can find out more about them, maybe I can learn a little bit more about, well, just in general, maybe the world can learn more about them. I was just talking with Hadius over there. Apparently, this colony of dwarves isn't even accepted by the Northern Dwarven clans. We could change that. It's a Dwarven clan, by the way. Sorry.
I don't think I know that many dwarves. But that's
Neither
very
do I.
interesting. Oh,
Nor I.
Rat no dwarves and rat not want no dwarves.
When I was a kid, my parents told me that dwarves were extinct, and I believed them.
I don't think they are. I'm
No,
looking at...
I met a couple.
Oh, very constrained upbringing then, I suppose. Not much in the way of different experiences.
Oh no, tons of different experiences, just no dwarves.
Oh. I don't I feel like I probably knew some dwarves. Soon, right? He's sort of mumbling to himself. He still is not, like, fully willing to admit that he does not remember as much of himself as he'd like to. But it's, like, very obvious from the way that he acts that he's like,
Do you need some help there, friend?
None that you could offer, but thank you.
All right. Let me know if that changes.
I certainly will.
Anyone near? Maybe that's something we could do while if we're waiting for. Actually, was that conversation in a language we could understand with you looking for a forge for rat?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Hiroi respects rats, wishes and does not talk in Draconic unless necessary.
Understood. Well, if we're looking for a forge for rat, maybe we can learn how to treat Blink Dog memory loss.
Well,
It'd be nice if I were just
by
a
my
potion.
understanding. Well, I can't say I know about treating the loss when it has happened already, but by my understanding, at least from the context, the goggles that you were given are supposed to help prevent it in the first place.
Hmm. Oh, I thought they were just for the sun.
Well, he brought them out as we were talking about blink dogs.
I just thought he was being nice.
He probably was.
Well, maybe someone around here knows something or other about that. There's quite a lot I don't remember, and that doesn't sit that well with me, if I'm being perfectly honest.
Oh, it's dangerous. You're
I
lost.
don't know where I'm from.
Adrift on the way.
I'm sorry to hear you lost so much. Well, shall we continue?
Oh, absolutely.
Might as well.
You have about 4 more days here.
How much did I lose that night?
None. That's part of your expenses for
Oh.
like since you're doing the like if you had been chosen poor, you'd have to probably pay some. But since you
Gotcha.
were at the +1 at Modest, you're able to afford, a few copper drinks here or there for friends is totally within your consuming things is a little bit of extra, right? It just means you go a little skimpier on the rest of the days.
That's fine. I can manage.
Yeah, for most things that aren't actively tracked, like ignoring like getting consumables or getting materials or refurbishing weapons, like all the things like food or whatever, what you're able to do is determined by your lifestyle that you choose that week.
Understood.
Question, while we're here in town, are we able to get a long rest so that I can
Yes.
get my cure wounds back? Thank
Yeah.
you.
You were able to get a long rest at the other one too. That's why I
Yeah.
said,
Ah, okay.
um
Yeah, fair.
You take your everybody can get their spell slots back, remember?
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, this is a place that has a proper inn. You're staying at an actual inn, right?
Okay.
One night,
Yeah.
you got your long rest.
Mm-hmm. Well, if I could enlist everyone's help here, it will probably be a long task to find a forge willing to loan out the facilities. And I would like to buy as much time for Rat as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you need to buy time?
For his tinkering.
I might be able to help.
Oh?
Possibly.
Rat kind of rifles through his bag and pulls out the stone steel ingot and kind of holds it in his hands on one side. He's not very strong, so it kind of dips in his hands when he unbalances how he's holding it. As he lifts it back up, brings it to the side, and kind of hits Kaio on the shin with it.
Oh, that
Well-
does a tremendous amount of. I'm going to, for effect, it hits. Go ahead and roll me a d6.
He's not hitting it hard. He's
Oh, okay.
just like
He takes
he's not
one
like
damage.
What? Hello? What did I do?
he kind of like looks forward at where it hit you, looks at the ingot, listens to it a little bit, pushes on its tension a little bit, nods a couple times and puts it back away.
I am looking around with such confusion on my face. I don't know what I was just hit with, nor why.
Knock
He
kind
tests
of
materials.
looks up but backwards a little bit without turning up at Hiroe and says,
Lucky, have another Fortes. Not need Yushin now.
How gracious.
Anyway, if you need time, I might be able to distract, well, someone, something.
No, I did not mean that kind of time. I meant time for experimentation.
Oh, a bit longer term then.
So weird and planny and just go fast, get there can, use time.
Anyway, I will start asking around if there are any forges willing to loan the facilities.
So you guys will get a collective batch of 3. How many days do you think he'd need? I think he would need about 2 days, so you probably get 2 days of attempts before you end up saying it's probably not worth it. So could each of you make me a fat charisma, anybody who's actually searching for it?
Can I use persuasion? I'm proficient.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Oh, that was a blind GM roll.
Can I use persuasion?
That's okay.
Because that would make it a 20 if I can.
You can. No, he can use it, but not you.
Damn.
Kaio on the first day is able to find the place. They're willing to let him use it, but it's very questionable. They're asking, you know, what your compensation is for it, especially once they figure out that it's a kobold and that they don't want him to break it.
I have no idea, so I look to the people that I'm with. Like, did they plan for this kind of a thing?
What sort of compensation would you like?
He goes over, looks at the kobold, and just asks, how long you think you need?
he kind of throws his hands up.
If just want to make simple thing, only need hour, but would like to test, understand metal.
He kind of gets it out.
Not want explained. Maybe 2 day most.
I'd probably say about over an hour. I'll probably break it even enough.
It's over an hour. Rat, you owe me.
He kind of just waves his hands.
We'll just be fast then.
So, Chad, crafting time on a slightly accelerated speed because it's a very simple crafting.
Mm-hmm.
You've got all of your aspects. Lucky for you, it's hot. All you have to do is roll to determine out how long it takes. But for everyone else, we're going to go through this just a little bit piece by piece, just so you can understand a little bit more about how the rules work. If you want to look at the rules thing just so that you can see visually as well, feel free to do that. This is section 10. Currently, Rat is crafting with all of the things he has. He has his goal of making some ammo from it. He has his ingredients, and he has a workstation. He doesn't quite know how many the principal would take, but he can assume pretty reasonably that it's probably a simpler one, so it probably only requires a skill of 5. It's a hot week, which intrinsically gives a little bit extra forge and lantern, which, given that it's Rat and what he's making, probably uses forge. So he's all good to go there. It's a literal blacksmith's workstation. That's extra forge right there. The last thing I'll ask is, Rat, are there any other ingredients you're adding as optional ingredients?
I don't know if we have anything right now to add anything as an extra ingredient.
Yeah.
As like a identified preset thing.
That is kind of
now.
expected, but I want to ask in case you want to be creative and also to make sure that everyone understands that additional things can be added.
Yeah. Let me just. He kind of flips his head up to Hiroe.
Still have some disappear ink.
No,
Any
I
magic
got
ink?
lost in the Mana Storm.
No magic ink?
Like I said, lost in the Mana Storm.
Did Kaio and Tefred end up tagging along, or once they heard that there was a place to go to, did they end up going and doing something else for their last 2 days?
Would it be another investigation roll to see if I think I can find someone to convince that I am something and they should give me money for it?
I mean, I'd say finding someone would just be another, like, persuasion, but with int instead of charisma.
I'll see what I can get. So this will be...
But either way,
D20.
we can handle that in a moment. Just importantly, are they in the scene? So Rat can only ask
I'm
Hiroe.
looking
No.
for a doctor for the blink dog thing, so it's gonna be different.
Gotcha. Well,
So then he is not going to be adding anything. He was looking for anything that adds a little bit of chaos to it to maybe get the bullets or the shots to break apart midair.
gotcha. Makes sense. Go ahead and give me your tools check for whichever tools you're using. I forget if they're blacksmiths or
Smiths, yeah.
Smith. Yeah, okay, Smith's tools.
Wow, incredible.
Incredible.
As always.
Luckily, it doesn't matter.
Incredible.
Like you can't fail this. It just ends up taking 2 days, so it ends up taking about 12 silver. But the job is done, and it has been made. You've created an extra batch of 10 bullets.
How much silver does Rat have?
Rat doesn't
wait,
have
could
money.
Could I use Fortune from the Many to try and buff that at all?
Let's see what fortune from the many is.
Oh wait, fuck, it's only when you do it. Shit.
Womp womp.
Me when I flash my genius. No. No, I don't have that yet. Yeah,
Does
no.
Hiroi have
it
enough
is-
money?
No.
Okay,
No.
so
like
here's
I
the
said,
thing. You
Cormier
end up
only starts
completing.
with 5 silver.
That's okay. That's okay. So here's the thing. It's just canon. It's just canon, right? He ends up finishing up. He ends up, counting up the time. He didn't bother to check, given Hiroi looks like a very respectable individual, given his attire and all of his well-doing presentation in a name like Skycourt. He was able to properly present himself. And then it comes time to pay. Hiroi, how does Hiroi actually go about doing that? Does he just shamefully leave it? Does he try to leave before doing it out of fear of the consequences, or what's the play?
Has he seen Rat make the ammo before?
That's up to you. It's up to y'all. Till you figure it
Chad,
out.
have I seen Rat make anything like that before?
He doesn't make it super often because I don't think we've had to actually fight a whole bunch recently.
Plus, you'd only been together for like 11 days or so before
Yeah,
the start of the
yeah,
session.
Probably not. This is probably the first time you've actively seen it. You've seen him make other things, but this kind of smith work is the first time you've seen it. Rat kind of looks up
Just leave.
as he kind of points his thumb.
Hiroi is going to Shit. Actually, does he know how many hours the workplace was occupied?
Yeah, it was 6
Okay,
hours on the
damn.
first day and like 5.5 on the second.
Okay. Alright. I have 3 silver on me at the moment. I can get you the rest before we leave.
He looks at you exceptionally skeptically. You're a Skycourt, you said, right?
Hiroi. Yes.
Where you, when you heading out?
In 2 days.
Alright. I'll see you before then.
Rat kind of narrows his eyes, and he gets an idea as he sort of digs through his bag and gets the crushed like sweet powder that he made in the file, and kind of holds it up and kind of shakes it to Hiroi.
Yes.
Take.
All right. I don't think that will be 9 silver. But
He kind of exasperatedly like raises his arms.
He's just kind of looking at you.
as collateral to ensure that we don't walk out, this is a reagent that my friend has for crafting. I would like to give it to you as collateral until we return to pay back the rest of the debt.
He ends up taking it and looking at it. I'm gonna make a private roll for him real quick as he's investigating it. Go. Do y'all have anything you want to do while that's happening to try to make it worse for him? Because keep in mind, this is a guy who actively works with reagents. This is a blacksmith who, owns and works the shop.
Hiroi didn't say it was smithing reagent.
Right, but it's still.
Honestly, he just assumes that because Rat has it, it's something
Oh,
that
Hiroi
Rat
is not
needs
even lying. Hiroi is just wrong. I see.
Yeah.
I mean, Rat, he wasn't there when Rat crushed up the rock candy.
Anyway, do y'all do anything about it?
Rat is just kind of confusedly looking at Hiroi, but letting him do whatever he's doing because he doesn't talk to people.
Is there anything I can roll?
I
Or-
mean, that's what I'm saying. What are you doing? I don't know what you're rolling until I know what you're doing.
That's the thing. I don't know if it would be deception or persuasion, because
No, you're not rolling deception or persuasion. I'm gonna try to convince him that blank, or I'm gonna,
I've given my argument.
Okay, all you're doing is saying it's a
He
reagent.
doesn't know more.
Okay. He has successfully passed it, and he hands it back to you. I just hope I see you.
What even was that, Brad?
Really liked sweet.
Apologies,
Rat kind of just narrows his eye.
Weird.
As he kind of jumps up to snatch it back.
It has a little ting as it steps through his gloves and has a little rattle along the edge as you yoink it back down to the ground. So, Hiroi, you've left the forge and you've caught back up with Kaio and Tefrid.
We need to find a way to make 9 silver in 2 days.
Why?
I will
Because
clap my hands together and say that's exactly what I've been working on. It just hasn't quite panned out.
Well, actually, we
Of
need to
course.
figure out if it has panned out because it has been 2 days.
Oh,
Do you want to make your roll?
so it's persuasion but with intelligence, right?
Yeah,
No, that would be a 7.
7. Yeah, you have not found a good mark to try to either scam or steal from.
Right. If it was persuasion with the intelligence, that would be a 9, not a 7, right?
No, I have a -1 intelligence.
Right, but you're proficient in persuasion.
Oh, okay. That's still terrible, though.
Yeah,
Yeah, but not nearly as terrible.
you just
Okay.
don't find somebody.
Yeah. Thank you, though, for trying to back me up.
That is important to make sure that it's accurate, regardless of if it changes the result.
Okay.
What's Tefrid been up to?
Tefrid is currently looking around town for a doctor who knows anything about blink dog amnesia.
You end up being able to pretty easily find one. It really does just come down to, unless you're willing to pay for the process to be sped up a little, it just goes away after, like, normally about, 3 weeks. Sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less, depending on how many memories you had beforehand.
And a week is 5 days, so 15 days.
Yep.
Okay, now that makes sense. I'll bring that news back to the group. Thank you. How much is that expedited process, just for so we're checking?
Well, it should be almost done by now.
Yes.
Yeah,
this
y'all
is
y'all
for
are
future.
starting to have most of your memories by this point.
Okay. This is just for future, just in cases.
Okay.
In case we get ambushed by blink dogs again, and we forget how to eat.
hmm
Forgetting how to
He's
eat
asking how
would be pretty unfortunate.
So he's asking how much the process would be expedited by.
Yeah, how much does it cost to do that for the future?
I see what you're saying now.
Yeah.
So that would be considered a minor wounds roll, which would end up being 5 gold
And how much would it be expedited by?
entirely.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Generally, minor wounds are 5, moderate wounds are 10, and major wounds are 20.
Okay.
That's the going rate for being cured at like a generic temple that you have no affiliation with. Ones that are more friendly with you or ones that serve similar patrons to you, you may get discounts, or ones that, you have performed malicious deeds towards or serve rival gods to, may charge more or even outright decline. But that's the going rate, is 5, 10, 20.
I think stupid make pay for forge at all.
We're not doing that.
Unfortunate it took 12 hours.
And sometimes.
Not blaming you, I just didn't anticipate having to pay that much.
And anticipate pay no. So,
I'm going to see if there's any clerical work that can be done. I have magics that can speed the process up, maybe get some money flowing faster.
Does anybody else have any opinions?
Well, I can actually help pay for a lot of this stuff.
What?
I got a little bit of money on me.
Are you sure you'd be willing?
Oh yeah, of course. You guys are helping me out. I might as well help you guys out.
9 silver is a lot of money in this.
I will
in
give
these
you 1
places.
gold piece.
7 helps.
Rat sees the shiny gold and like raises his hands up, kind of twiddles his fingers.
Use
oh,
for
take,
me?
just see.
Tefred, I feel you've got hidden depths.
No, I was just employed.
Oh. Jugular.
Can't relate.
Rat
No,
kinda
I have
jumps
a
up
limited
little
amount of funds here too. It's just you guys seem to be struggling a bit more than me.
bit. Rat kind of looks up, not as much up as they would have to for the other ones, but looks up
Yeah.
and says,
Rat is 3.
I'm gonna give Rat a gold piece too. You can probably use that to help with your crafting stuff, right? Gold's probably useful for that.
Rat nods a couple of times.
Yes.
Didn't you say you were
Alright.
5 before?
What?
He kind of kicks here away.
I'll tell you guys how much gold archaeologist starts with at the end of the session.
Converted?
You did make sure to convert it, right?
Oh, dick nuts.
How much do you start with?
25.
Yeah, so you
So
start
you
with
start
two
with
and a half.
gold.
I've made a mistake. I've made a very large mistake.
Why do you think I'm looking like a pauper? I'm so broke!
Guys, I made an error. I cannot pay for your things.
How
I
much money
mean,
did
you
spend?
can technically.
I
You'll
mean,
just
I
be
can,
very
but then
low.
I'm also squalid. You know what? Yeah, sure.
I
You
mean,
get kicked out of the nice-
generosity means doing it even when it's rough for you.
Yes, absolutely. No, I will give here away the 1 gold, and now I have 5 silver.
That's 5 silver more than I have.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
very true. The perpetuation of BBQ being a broke ass bitch continues.
Oh, I can't believe I forgot to. I knew there was something I forgot to do. That's an embarrassing
Yeah,
one
this
to
is why
forget to do.
we needed everybody here for the pre-session check.
Yeah.
Yeah. No worries.
That's what
Oh,
we have
It's
next
fucking
week for.
hilarious, though.
I'm so ready to never engage with money ever because Rat doesn't understand the concept of money and chooses to not engage with it and just likes shiny things.
Kaya
I will be
understands
taking your
money
share.
and he wants
The
money.
problem is, Rat, is when you find out that some of the other places' monies are craftable items.
Hands clasped together.
I will
Trade-off
engage in
there.
commerce so I can steal their money and melt it.
I swear to God, Rat is going to like find some fucking scheme of the currency of one place being more valuable in raw material than the actual value of the currency for another place, and
Yep.
like,
Just like that scheme in Catch-22.
So,
Mhm.
thank you, Lord Alba, for bringing yourself to 5 silver, and luckily for all of you, it's a 2-way already paid caravan trip. So, what do you do for the last 2 days?
I'm still gonna try and find at least some temporary clerical work to, like, get something back.
Rat will follow around Hiraway and a little bit more considerately mention to Hiraway,
If anything broken can fix.
I'm gonna keep doing what I've been doing. It hasn't worked yet, but it has to eventually, right?
Thank you. Hopefully.
Or I get kicked out of town and it's just one more place I can't go back to, but whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's basically Rat asking, while you're looking for clerical work or any work that you're planning to do, just mention that Rat can fix things, and maybe an additional.
This is where
side
I
gig
say out of
appears.
character that like you guys can look for it, and I'll just say it probably doesn't happen because those sorts of things are a bastion turn action sort of thing most of the time.
Damn.
So you look around,
That
you
is
go
smart.
around, and you manage to find absolute scraps of it. Rat, you end up getting 4 copper. Hero, you end up getting 7.
Incredibly fucking base. Rat loves the 4 copper. He probably likes the copper more than any of the other currency because it's more useful to him.
Very true.
What about Electrum?
So-
It's an alloy.
Ooh, true.
Okay, it's an alloy of gold and silver.
Yeah.
What am I gonna do? Shock myself?
Yeah.
I'm gonna actually wait. No, good idea.
Yeah, hold on.
Rat, you should shock yourself.
Rat, you should shock yourself now.
So because of the 1 gold and the 3 silver, Hero has 1 gold, 1 silver of change from the guy, right?
That is correct.
He's going to give the 1 silver back to Tefrid.
Oh, thank you.
It isn't much, but it's all I was able to get back.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Listen, again, you're helping me out. I'm gonna help you out. That's
Thank
a
you.
20% increase right there.
Rat is jingling his 4 copper coins in his hands happily.
He's so real for that.
Hold on. I don't know why that was. Okay, so Tefrid is at 6 silver. Okay.
Anybody do anything for any of the 2? You do anything for the last day before you head out?
Tefrid is going to see if he can't get a little more like a book to not necessarily purchase at this point, but read a little bit about the mountains that we're going to.
Yeah, there's a library that ends up having some very basic details on it. It kind of just gets like half a page in one of the sections on it.
Gotcha.
Because a lot more of the interest in it isn't about the mountains themselves, but some of the few places along the sides of it on the other side. But
Okay.
in general, these end up being rather spiky and rather cold mountains. They get a lot of snowfall because it's ultimately the final barrier of the winds that prevail across the lowlands. Most of the winds go towards it. And, you know, rainfall, snowfall happens a lot there. It's suspected that most of the rivers come from them.
Okay.
The rocks tend to be pretty hard, not too easy to break. They're not exceptionally hard in most of the spots, but a lot of them have pretty good density. And vegetation is pretty sparse, so gathering food up there will probably be difficult.
Gotcha. That'll be good to know. Buy rations beforehand. You describe them as spiky. Is that their appearance or how the temperature works? Is it like spiky in temperature?
Appearance and geography. Lots of
Okay.
valleys, lots of peaks. It's not much of a plateau. It's much more jagged.
Okay. Gotcha. Alright, that's good for me for those 2 days.
I don't think it would take 2 days to do this, but I'd like to try and find either a shrine to all gods, or failing that, just like a fountain, running water of some kind, and offer a prayer to Umberly.
I need you to repeat that for me in just a few seconds.
Sure.
All right. One more time.
Yeah, I'm looking for either a shrine to all gods, or failing that, a fountain or any other kind of running water, so that I can offer a prayer to Umberlee.
There is a polytheistic shrine in one part of the temple, but one that ends up feeling much more fitting for you is the river that the cliff overlooks, that then falls down to the river that is kind of the river of the border of civilization, not too dissimilar to the ocean on the border of civilization that you started your journey at.
Yeah, it feels very fitting, and
From one side of civilization to the other.
mhm. So I offer a prayer, hoping that she watches over me as I take this next journey. Gone quite a long way, not sure how much further
I don't
can
think
go.
you have any doubt that she watches over you. I think you just hope that she's watching over you affirmative rather than derogatory.
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to make it interesting for her. I'm hoping I'm doing a good job.
I mean, being broke is pretty funny.
It is. I'm sure it's very entertaining to see me living in a fucking pile of hay, fighting with the horses for room. It's fine.
It is even funnier when you didn't realize you were broke. I promise.
I'm hoping she's enjoying watching the chaos that I've sown in the towns that I've passed through in ways that they themselves will not know until a week later when they're looking for like a plate and it's on their roof. But yeah, that's the big thing for me. Just connecting with my goddess.
That seems wise. It is now the midday on the 28th, and it is time for the party to head out once more with the caravan. It's still a hot day. That is the wrong one. I hope I don't bring you there. That would be spoilers. One, two, three. It is the 29th. It is a hot day, meaning that normally you guys would eat twice as many rations. However, luckily you don't have to subtract any of them from the 110 rations that you have in your group storage because of the fact that it's somebody else's caravan. One, two, three. It is now Strester. It is a new week, and you are on the road.
On the road again.
On the road some more. So, never mind. It starts tomorrow. That's when you do it, because it's on days ending in 1. Excuse me. Midstone. You have made it to
Every day
Midstone.
that ends in 1.
It is the 31st. Time for a new weather roll. It started being less hot because the area you eventually got to in the last part started being a little more humid, so it started just being dry winds instead of being actively hot, so it's not too bad. Currently we are, what's the environment? Plains. All right. I will I want you guys to decide amongst yourself which of the pick 3 people to do the threat roll and pick 1 person to do weather.
I will do weather.
Don't roll it yet.
I would like to do thread because that's one of the options available.
That is a blind roll to me of just a d20.
I will also do thread.
Who's the third?
Good question.
All right, you are good for weather.
Can I nominate Golden?
Sure.
Golden, I nominate you to be threatening. Roll a d20 blind to the GM.
To GM.
So you said we're good for weather, so we don't have to do weather?
No, I'm saying you're good to roll rather.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, excuse me.
And you want the table, right?
Yep, just press the table. What I do is I change the formula on it, so you just have to press it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy.
I saw what that rolled on.
I mean, yeah, you're supposed to
rolled
be
it.
able to see that. Wait,
no, I
did you?
just
Oh,
thought-
did you blind roll that one?
I did blind roll it.
Okay, no worries. That is 2d4 plus 2 with a 4/4. You know what that means? It means
What does it
two things. First,
That's it.
it means that because the result is a 10, that's a thunderstorm. Because that's what a 10 is on the table, is a thunderstorm. But secondly, and more importantly, that's double 4s, which means you get to roll on the exotic weather table. Let me make sure that I've got that all set up properly.
I don't even see it on the weekly elements.
That's fair because I don't have it shared. I'm gonna roll it to myself instead, and then I'll figure out when to interject it. Does that show for y'all or?
Yes.
Ah,
Yes.
fantastic. We will figure out what that means in a bit. So, that part's been done. We rolled a load of lows. Rations would get eaten. You don't need to make exploration rolls because you're in another group. Travel actions are assigned. That monsters have been rolled. Learning progress. Keep in mind that you have 2 weeks of learning progress to stack up on. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It is the day of the 32nd. It is the day of the 33rd. On this day, as you wake up, you start to notice that one of the moons in the sky, the moon more often associated with Saloon, rather than the one that's, associated with not Saloon, is getting pretty close to the sun. That's pretty weird. Hero,
Space is what it is.
this feels like good news. Other people, this feels fucking weird. That's never happened before. Like ever. None of you have seen that before.
Lady Moon blesses us.
Call it a blessing?
Yes, she grants us shelter.
If it means less goggles, then happy.
Shelter.
What's the lighting condition during this time?
At the moment, it's still relatively normal, but it's getting darker. It's midday and it's starting to get much closer to an actual proper eclipse.
You said this is the 32nd?
Yeah, it is currently 2 days have passed, so it's the 33rd.
33rd. Okay.
I can see it getting darker. Hero seems to have experience with this in a way that I certainly don't. How long does this last?
It varies.
I'm not gifted in the way that you seem to be to find this comforting. I am going to cast the light spell on my staff just in case the world suddenly becomes dark around me.
Honestly, very reasonable. What? Sun not supposed to be dark during day. Sun only supposed to be
No.
dark during night.
Don't like it. Not feeling it. Really not feeling it, and I'm sorry to say.
This is weird.
As it gets pretty close to midday and as the moon is about to cross completely over it, Missy starts barking quite loudly and runs off into some of the nearby trees.
Feel right either.
Do we pursue?
What does the caravan owner look to think?
They tell you, well, it's your dog. You should probably go after them, but be careful.
Rat kind of looks up and looks at the dog running away. Looks over at Tefred.
Fetch.
Yeah, I'm going. I'm gonna try to keep track of.
You're pretty good at keeping tracks, especially of Missy. She's not very good at pursuing hers.
Yeah.
And as you go through, eventually you catch up, and you find Missy being relatively lovingly pet by someone who is sitting on one of the nearby rocks. It is friend of Mithril.
Oh, crumbs.
Why is that crumbs?
Friend?
Hello, Tefred. It has been a while.
Yeah,
I
like,
see Missy is doing well.
yeah, she is. Please correct me if I'm wrong. It's been approximately 3 weeks, right?
A little bit more than that.
A little bit more than that,
Fair
like a
bit more.
month?
Like we're at 32 days.
Yeah.
No, we're at 33 days.
Mhm.
And you guys met up probably on like the 41st of last month.
It's been about 40 days.
So about 8 weeks.
About 8 weeks still.
And of note, a week is about the same amount of time as our week, even though it's only 5 days. There's more hours in it. It's
Mhm.
about like 90% of one of our weeks by time.
Yeah.
So it's roughly analogous.
I didn't think I was going to see you for a very long time. I thought you were on tree time. How you been?
It has been interesting. He kneels down to offer a handshake.
I reach up to you're massive. I have to go up on my tippy toes probably.
No, he kneels down like on his knee.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I
So-
shake his hand.
For context, I rolled the size chart. He's 6'8".
Holy shit!
He's the exact same height as Lord.
Yeah, I was about to say he lore coded.
You are 3 rats, and a little more.
Almost.
A little bit more.
Yeah.
3 rats would be 6'6".
Yeah.
3 rats and a trench coat.
It's folded
He's
underneath
standing.
his feet.
He's standing on a folded up trench coat. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, what are you doing out here? We're pretty far from our other friend.
So we are. I could ask you the same thing.
Oh well, I'm still out looking for some answers. I've never really intended on staying in one place for very long.
What sort of answers? I too am seeking answers.
I'm looking into the story of an ancient civilization that appears to now have been erased from history. And that's exciting for me. What are you looking for?
What's also very exciting is that it is starting to get exceptionally dark as the sun is almost entirely eclipsed
Oh
by the
dear.
moon, by one of the moons.
I'm also looking for answers as to that. I don't know that. I'm gonna point straight up at the sky. This is
He
new to me.
looks up. What is that?
Yeah, that's a great question. Would I be familiar with the concept of an eclipse? Or
No,
is this a common occurrence? Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, this is new to me too. Oh, look at that! We're learning something together. Keep your guard up. I don't know what comes out, just to make sure nothing's coming after us. Oh wow, it's dark. Can you see in the dark?
I would assume out of character.
I don't believe so.
I do not see well.
Yeah, me either.
Just as quickly as it had been eclipsed, it has moved on.
Oh, wow. Oh, I was worried that would last forever. Okay. I can calm down a little bit now. So you said you were looking for answers, friend.
Yes.
Do you know what the questions are?
I'm looking for the city.
The city. We're on our way back to that, actually, right now.
We?
Yes. When we're in the woods, safer to travel in numbers. I joined up with a pretty big caravan and a couple new, interesting people. They agreed to help me explore the mountains up north after we went back to the city. I'll introduce you if you want.
If you insist.
Sure, yeah. New experiences are always good. All right, I'll lead the way, and I'll make sure to give you a proper introduction. All right?
Once
Thank
you get back, you learn from the other party members that the leader, it wasn't aspirin, that's the fucking medicine.
Aspen,
Yeah.
the tree.
Yeah.
Not
Aspen
the-
has temporarily departed. He is going out doing some scouting. He heard something, and he needed to make sure that what he believes is the case. Eventually, after about 15 or so minutes, he rejoins up the group. We're taking a slight detour. There's some beasts ahead. We'd do best to avoid them.
Not blink dogs this time, I take it.
Nope. Much less lethal, but still best to avoid.
Right.
He looks at this construct of wooden, well,
Oh, yeah.
twisting things and just saying
As,
worse.
as of right now, it's just like... It's basically like a dark purple, like porcelain. From
Gotcha.
like torso to toe, because the head is wrapped.
Right. Yeah, that's a fair point. Well, welcome to the journey. Try not to steal any of anybody's stuff. And the party
Do you
makes
know
it
what feeling is?
here. Unfortunately, that evening is when many of the rains start to set in. And given that you are pushing a cart and having a cart pulled, that starts to be very problematic. First of all, by default, you're only able to move 2 tiles each day rather than 3, as the thunderstorms are being quite intense and making everything muddy and clogged and, you know, not very nice in general. At least you're able to rest well with the proper, you have proper tent equipment and stuff with Missy and Molly and all, not Missy, Molly and Buttercup and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of your stuff, since there's a lot of stuff in the caravan, has to be in that cart. If you guys tried to carry it, you would probably get flattened. So, somebody in the group needs to try to make a DC 18 strength check each time you try to enter a new tile, or else that tile
do
is
that.
movement.
Can I apply? Sorry.
Which means that, given looking around, that most of the people in the caravan aren't strong aside from Aspen himself, who is not that strong, he's just moderately strong. There just so happens to be a lucky individual who just joined.
I was about to say, hey, friend.
Wow.
So, he has joined the group, and he is here to introduce himself.
Out of character, I was gonna have Tefrid do it because he's not a very chatty fellow.
All right. All right, everybody. You will quite literally not believe who I just ran into.
Oh.
Why?
See,
Good start.
a few weeks ago, I was out in these woods. I was out in some woods, bit north of here.
Nope.
What was that?
Nope. Very far to the southeast, I think.
Oh no, you're entirely correct.
Yeah.
Yes, sorry.
You see the ruins in the bottom right?
Yeah. Now I have my
Yep.
bearings. And while me and a friend were out wandering, we met another friend. Everyone say hello to Friend of Mithril. That's at least what I actually. Friend, do you have a different name that you would prefer now? That's just what I started calling you.
Those are not important to me.
I call him Friend of Mithril.
Rat's kind of just like staring a little bit. He takes his goggles off,
And he's a
recoils
really
a bit
nice
at the
guy.
light, puts his goggles back on.
What?
Yeah.
If
He wants to
Tefra
see the
calls you a
city.
Friend? No, I see no reason not to do the same.
Thank you.
Rat's just kind of looking around.
Am I only one who's...
As he just kind of stops himself and throws his arms up in desperation.
Although I don't value names, I cannot think of the words to say.
What you going for, bud?
I am interested to learn yours.
Oh, introductions. Yeah, there you go. Tefred is going to look smiling but expectingly at the three people who he met and who he just recently made acquaintance with.
Kyle offers a smile, thinks about offering a handshake, so it kind of half extends and then realizes that this person probably doesn't know what that means, and then quickly retracts it. Just says, Kyle, it's a pleasure, I'm sure.
Kaio, hello. Your eyes look similar to someone I once knew.
Did you like them?
Just similar.
The person, not the eyes, but thank you nonetheless.
You can call me Hiroi.
Hello, Hiroi. He looks at Rat, who I'm assuming is somewhere on or around Hiroi.
Yeah, he was next to Hiroi, but he is like slowly kind of like made his way closer, and at this point is kind of looking very much like up at you, like,
What are you?
And looking at Rat, he turns to Hiroi and says, "Is this your Missy?"
No, he would kill me if I ever compared him. No.
Rat puts
No.
his bag down and starts rifling through it.
Missy dog.
Is he okay?
Rat is one of the smartest men I have ever met.
He slows down his looking through, but now he's very calculatedly looking at each individual thing and setting aside a couple files and one small satchel.
Rat is able to hear as the thunder begins to roar in the distance, knowing that he's about to get reined in.
He's tracking everything that he takes out.
He kind of hits the side of the cart with his hand, kind of shakes his hand because it hurt his hand to do that.
Too wet, too wet.
He looks up, growls a little bit.
Lucky.
Hello, Rat. You are most interesting and different from those I have seen.
Not expect seen kobolds. Not many wander about. Don't compare, Missy.
I apologize.
That's a new one.
Okay, weird thing.
As he sort of gets back up and sits back down next to Hiraway.
You've been learning a lot, haven't you, friend?
I have had much time speaking with Bitterbark.
Good. Bitterbark is very wise. Is Bitterbark the one who suggested the get up there, the outfit, the coverings?
Yes. He suggested it as so other people would pay me less attention.
Yeah, I think it'll work. I'm confident.
Rat kind of like stupefied looks over, like jaw slightly agape.
Are you stupid?
I can't imagine not noticing. And then he kind of catches his tongue.
No, this is still less conspicuous.
Then, what does he hide? Very well.
That doesn't
Head
matter.
covered.
And then he gestures to the rest of the body, the porcelain body sticking out.
Is this
As he speaks about head covered, Rat is able to feel on his head because it's not very covered. The first drops of rain that are starting to happen as the rest of the caravan on this walk is trying desperately to get into some semblance of cover before the night falls.
Go, go, go.
As he sort of like wipes his head and like pushes himself underneath Hiraway's arm to not get rained on.
It's a matter of being less conspicuous. There are suits of armor not unlike the silhouette our friend cuts. Not many of them, but
Maybe.
As he's kind of pushing Hiraway now at this point.
yes.
But cart move.
I know. Friend, would you be willing to offer some assistance?
Of course.
Many thanks.
It is the 34th day. You get to start making your things. Golden, I'd like you to make me a strength check.
Yup.
All right, it is the second half of the 34th day.
Oh boy.
Go for it.
Another one?
Mm-hmm. You remain in place. It is the 35th day. Give me another.
Can I try to help?
We're not going to make it there. Yeah,
Give me another.
Can any of us use a help action?
I was
I
about to say,
mean-
Ken.
It looks like we're actually as strong as one another.
Are you? Oh wow.
He seems to have a 14 in strength.
I have a 15, so am I the
All right,
strongest
yeah.
person here?
Okay, since you have the same modifier, you can help him on it. So you're still. It's just the end of the first day then.
Aura
All
not
right,
dumping
now it's the
strength.
35th day. Go ahead and give me a strength with advantage.
Is it shift click?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if you hover over it after rolling it, you can click the up. Oh,
There we go. All right, we get one movement.
Oh shit.
Give me another.
With advantage?
Yep.
Oh, we're good.
All right.
Yeah, we're moving now.
35th. All right. Now it's the
We
36th,
just got the twink involved.
37th,
Wait,
38th,
ridiculous. I'm a man.
And on the 39th, you have made it to the Shining City. The storms have been rather unpleasant. You learned from the guide that you had to get stuck out there for a few days because, the beasts were there and that was pretty much the only way to avoid them, and he's glad he did. But regardless, you're here and you have about 9 days. Let me double check that because it's the 39th and 43rd. Okay, you've got about 5 days to get somewhere up here. And it doesn't really matter if you're a little bit late. It just means there's a chance that other people will have scouted out, already claimed some of the regions. So you don't have too much time in town. But this is where you get to start adventuring on your own.
All right, we stock up on supplies, and we leave tomorrow. We need to get there as soon as possible.
Sound good. Is
As he kind of gets a little closer to Hiroi, and kind of gestures.
that thing gonna follow us?
Maybe.
Currently, you're just outside the city. It's quite a lot for a friend looking in and seeing the dozens of buildings that are reaching partially into the sky. Some of them magical, some of them simply well done, many of them with holes in them, and some of them just nothing but bricks. The variety of architecture is daunting, especially as one who's probably only seen a few buildings along the path here. I assume you are staying outside the city?
Me?
Yeah.
I'll go in if the rest of the group does.
Mhm. I will be going in. We're
Mike-
going in, right? We're stopping in the city first before we're leaving?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
you have to
we're-
spend the night somewhere, and you might as well spend it there for, standard. Right, it's not like it costs you anything extra right now because it's an equivalent to the amount of rations you'd be using. Only thing is that my question is, you guys are saying you're stocking up on supplies. What supplies are you trying to stock up on? Because you don't have very much supply wiggle room.
How much do rations cost?
I will double check. You also have 110, which is at least enough for 2 Bastion turns.
Wait, what?
What do you mean, what?
Did the group start with extra rations?
That's
Oh,
how
shit.
many rations you guys had. The rations do get doubled up because I'm going off of the encumbrance of it rather
Right,
than the
yeah.
number of it. So it's still 20 encumbrance of
Okay.
rations and stuff like that.
Okay. I was just remembering the fact that Courtier is mechanically kind of a ship background and doesn't start with any rations.
I mean, hey, fair enough.
I thought rations came in your Explorer pack.
That's the neat part.
Oh,
Each stand
Oh, no,
a
I
single
get the
standard
problem now.
ration is 4 copper, meaning a individual for 10 days costs about 4 silver. But that's also assuming that you don't get any other food from any of the actions you take while you're traveling.
Okay. So we are not as horrifically off as I had thought.
Yeah, hold on, let me do my math. So 110. Yeah, assuming you are able to hunt basically anything along the time you get there, you're only 30 rations short from being able to do everyone for 2 entire Bastion turns.
Okay. So as long as we're not out there for 20 days.
Well, so long as we're not out there for 20 days, and we haven't done any hunting, and
Yeah.
we miss every single thing and get no money as a result of it.
Yeah.
Plus,
yeah,
And
yeah.
then we
once you're
find nothing
there,
of value anywhere.
plus once you're there, you could probably just ask, "Hey, can we have some of the food since we're working here?" And they'd probably say yes.
Yeah, fair. All right.
So, are you grabbing any supplies?
Probably not. My 7 copper is probably not enough for that.
Gotcha.
Rat is keeping his 4 copper. He's not trading the world for it.
It is the 39th, and the party makes well, actually, it's up to the party where they go, really. So it's up to you guys how you choose to walk now. I am no longer guiding you.
Mhm.
It's the 39th. You have 2 movement points.
Well, we were traveling to Lalo Peak to start prospecting, correct?
I don't know. You pay attention.
Effort?
So I definitely was thinking, and that thought has left my head.
Sure.
Happens to the best of us. All the best people do.
Attacked by the dogs.
We need to travel to the northwest to
Northeast.
find the
Yeah.
others. Maybe before we leave, we could try and find someone else in town who might know more precisely where we need to go.
Of note, this is the city. There are very accurate postings with the developmentalists
okay.
of it, and you could get just about all of the info you need about it.
Okay. Yeah.
We should probably
We'll check in
find
with
out
the
at the
developmental.
very least which side of this river we want to be on
Yeah.
before we leave. Because we've got a bridge down here and nowhere else.
So
We
you
should
have,
very much be following the roads, though.
So yeah, because even if not, it would be better to ford and cross the river rather than go through all of those hills one day at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
The camp is here.
Okay.
It is. You're able to get some basic maps where there's not too many roads up in the area. There's a bridge that's dilapidated that is no longer functional that follows a general path. But like the reason they're out there prospecting is because, you know, not many people go there. You'll probably get there a day late unless you hightail it, and that could have a lot of big problems. So probably better to just be a day late.
Much as I hate to be a day late.
Better not lose.
We won't.
You need more shinies to get me more shinies.
Yes, exactly. So, we check in with the developmentalists, they give us information on where to go, and we go there.
You have obtained that information on where to go.
Okay, good. Good.
It is this exact tile right here if you want to mark it.
Okay. Let me... Okay. Yeah, that works.
Does that show up for you even though it's out of vision?
Nope.
That X? Okay. Well, when you get closer, you'll find it.
The ping shows up for me.
Yeah,
we're
like,
all pinging, but
yeah,
I'm just gonna keep my mouse there.
that's fair.
forever.
Forever and ever. So, before we do this next one, who is going to be the driver? This doesn't have any this isn't a mechanical driver situation. This is just one person should probably control the token for movement.
Here away.
Oh, yes.
All right, Hiroi.
So we're taking the road.
It is the
northeast
dawn
first,
of the
right?
39th.
Not to immediately offload all responsibility onto you. I just felt like you were the best one to do it.
North.
I drove in the last campaign. I'm not driving anymore.
Yeah, fair.
I don't have a driver's license.
Hero BBQ was also kind of the lead in the last one. I think it should be somebody else.
Yeah,
I
fair.
don't want to I don't want to start off immediately being like very first time. Make him the leader again.
I don't mind doing it. I don't have a license to drive, but I can do boats. A horse is like a
Ooh,
boat,
true.
right?
Listen, a car.
Yeah, but there's no horses. It's 2 mules.
Oh, that's easier.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All the king's horses and all the king's men.
So
weren't
we're just
here
following
because
the
of
road. Can I start
We're-
moving?
You should be able to move it, right?
Ho,
All right.
1 mile.
So that's
one.
half of your movement through the 39th. It is a very, very rainy day. And as
I
you're
love it.
moving through some of these road farmlands, Rat ends up noticing out of the corner of his eyes a very slight sparkle off on the side of the road.
Stop.
And I stopped.
Rat is going to peer out. Is it rainy enough that I can take my goggles off and not get blinded by the light?
Yeah, it would still be very unpleasant, but you know, you're not
Mhm.
blinding yourself.
All right, can he like kind of peek underneath the goggles to kind of just really see if the shine is what he thinks it is? Like if it's actually a glint?
There
or if
is
it's just-
some glint of something over there. It's very faded, but it's there.
He's going to pop out and get out like a little spade and kind of all fours it over to it.
You're able to see that there's a little bit of rusted metal that's peeking out from the side. But even with your spade, a lot of the ground there is very well compacted underneath the top layer that has washed away in the rain. And try as you might, you cannot tug it out.
Help!
He just says,
What's going on?
Pull. Dig. Out.
Hold on. Molly's got a pickaxe I can grab really quick if you need.
Not strong enough lift pickaxe.
I am.
Cool.
All right, I'll go grab my pickaxe from Molly.
And as you walk over, friend is already pickaxe in hand walking over.
Oh, thank you, friend. You want to try it?
This is a pickaxe.
Pickaxe, yes.
I will give it a try.
The pointy end goes in the ground.
He does so
Right.
with exceptional precision, as the point goes exactly where you want it, about an inch away from the top of the metal.
Wow. Great job.
Rat does get a little bit of a heart attack as it goes very close to the thing.
With unnatural precision, he's able to rather effectively churn the land generally around it before reaching down, grabbing it, and with a great lurch, yoinking it out of the ground as there is a rattle that rolls along, echoing to the other members of the group who are still trying to take some form of shelter near Missy and Molly and all that, as this chainmail with tons of moss and corrosion down through it all, in all of the areas that aren't the very tip top of it off of the surface, ends up waving in the wind. It is a piece of rusted chainmail.
Rat kind of excitedly jumps up and down and points back to the cart.
Go, 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 go.
As he remembered that he's being rained on and is uncomfortable again.
It is of note to Rat, massive. It is far bigger than you are. It's bigger than most of the members of the party, even.
Would it fit friend of Mithril?
Yeah, probably.
Disguise opportunity, friends.
It's me. I'm here to
There
look
is one
like I'm
imposter among
a
us.
fucking scarecrow.
That's the wrong.
Rat jumps back into the cart and is kind of grabby handsing the up at friend with for the chainmail. Or not cart.
He is making no effort to haste back to the cart. He's just taking his time. and sort of adjusting his hold on it as to sort of look over it as he does so.
I wanted to apologize. We didn't spend much time in the city, but we were tight on time. I will try to give a full tour once we return from this, once
Oh, yeah.
finances are more stable.
I'd love to join you on that too. I've been in there for I've been at the city for a little bit longer. So, how long have you been there?
Since late seed.
Oh wow. Okay, yeah.
I
That'll be good.
forget the exact date. I got separated because of a mana storm, and that is when I met Rat.
Oh, this is recent.
Yes.
Huh. I just assumed you guys had known each other for a while.
You do seem very close for such recent acquaintances.
Rat kind of tilts his head.
Don't think you understand what close mean.
And I look at their physical proximity, and I just like,
He's saying this on Hero's shoulder.
literally, yeah.
Basically.
Very well.
Rat probably even has a little tarp over him that also incidentally, unintentionally, is probably covering Hero's head as well. And so it looks like he's covering for him, even though it's really just because his horns prop it up.
So, now movement speed. We are moving into, I think, more difficult terrain in this
You
tile.
would be, but it is road. So
Oh,
you always
fair.
move it 1 per 1 on road.
Great.
It
So
is
this our
now the
last movement.
40th.
Mm-hmm.
You can move more tiles on the 40th.
1.
You take camp for the night. It is now the 31st, which means it's a day ending in 1. We get to do our first full Bastion turn, except for our learning and crafting. Those still get to wait.
Mhm.
So, who wants to be the weatherman?
I'll be the weatherman.
Oh, the weatherman come.
Soon may the Wellerman come.
Okay,
Let's see.
so
We
what do I
are
roll?
on a hill.
Oh,
Did
shit.
you roll it?
Did not mean to. Yes,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
We are on hills, which means 6 goes 4 goes 5. All right. I have updated it. It is good to go. I would like 3 of the other people. I want you to decide. I want the other 4 people to decide who's not rolling the Thet roller today.
Not
You
a-
want me to roll again?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
That is good.
Such a
It is just heavy
fat
clouds.
roll.
Hey, that means that Rat might not be so
Mhm.
threatened.
Miserable.
Who's not rolling?
I'll abstain. I feel like I've been rolling a lot.
All right.
so I got them.
Golden, Alba, and Senior Chad.
Blind GM.
Blind
roll,
GM
no?
roll me.
Just a 20.
Just a 20. All right. Next up, each person consumes 10 rations in a normal circumstance. The mules also consume 10 rations. So, are y'all at such a point that you are choosing to potentially take some con saves in order to be eating half rations? You'd be consuming you'd be consuming 60 of your 110.
Damn, that's terrible. Can we not hunt to supplement
You
this
can,
in
but
some
that
way?
is a later action. That
yeah.
replenishes it. It does not reduce the consumption.
Okay.
What
Yeah,
is the
so-
DC
We
for the eating?
I will read the exact rule right now. Each person consumes 10 rations in normal circumstances, can eat 5 rations and gain a point of exhaustion if running low, or if no rations are eaten, can gain up to 3 points of exhaustion. Each roll is made as a DC 17 con save, and 1 roll is made per point gained, happening one after another.
Yeah, Warforged don't have to eat.
Right, that's why it is 60
Oh,
instead
okay.
of 70.
Yep.
It is
Yeah, that
4
makes sense.
people and 2 mules. Which, luckily, because they're mules and not horses, they still only eat normal. They don't
sorry.
eat extra.
I don't think I understand what the hell that means.
Okay.
You said you gain exhaustion points. You said nothing about con saves. And then you said you gain up to 3 exhaustion and then make con saves. That doesn't make sense
Okay,
to me.
so one of these 3 things happens. You consume 10 rations,
Yes,
or you eat
that-
5 rations and could gain a point of exhaustion, or no rations and could gain up to 3 points. Right? That
okay,
part.
so
Based on
you
the
roll a
result of a
DC
con.
7.
And then-
Okay, so then the DC is 17.
Right.
That is what I asked.
Yeah.
I think I'm good. I don't want to be making DC 17 con roll, whatever.
Either.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
I'm
a really
okay.
high DC for how low level we are right now.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, starvation. That'll do it.
What if I want to be skinny?
So everyone is eating full rations?
That's
Mhm.
not,
so,
This is good. All right. You are to 50 rations remaining. That is just barely not enough for next Bastion turn. Who wants to make the exploration roll?
what roll is this?
This is a D8 plus party level, so it is a D8 plus 3. This determines if, like, what kind of things you can discover while you're on the way around.
I think we should just do a rotating, like when we do these types of rolls, like a rotating, so that we don't
Yeah.
have to spend a bunch of time like, oh, who wants to roll this?
I
or
think
who
that's
wants to roll
fair.
that?
Yeah,
Well, let's do
so-
alphabetical order.
For now,
shit.
until we get a better grasp on it, let's just have one. Since there's 5 general roles, there's 3 threats, one
And
one weather, and 1 exploration. For now, let's leave it as what we just did, where it's
Mhm.
BBQ rolls weather, Golden
Mhm.
rolls Aura rolls exploration, and everyone else rolls the threats.
okay. So R rolls exploration then.
All right.
Okay.
Roll me
let
a
get
D8.
D8 plus
Plus
3.
3.
Blind GM roll.
Public. You know how good it is.
What happened?
That is still a blind GM roll, but I will tell you, it is a 3 plus 3 for a 6. It is a okay result. You have, some visibility. Lastly, you guys get to choose a few actions that you're taking while you travel. It could be stuff such as guard, which is letting you make perception checks to attempt to identify if any of those threat rolls actually are going to happen to you. And any number of people can do that. You can attempt to gather, which lets you either hunt, forge, or trap using 2 of the 3 of either Dex and Wisdom, Int and Wisdom, or Dex and Int. One person can do each of those combinations. You can...
Would love to Dex and Int.
I'll take Dex and Wiz.
All right. Surveying is doing stuff where you're essentially adding extra times to be able to modify that exploration roll. Each person who takes survey, that's the exploration roll, be made an additional time, basically giving it advantage, but it can happen up to twice, so you could roll 3 times. You can study, where you do a little bit more learning. You can do prospecting, which we'll get to in a bit once you get to your destination. Let's keep it simple and just be with those for now.
Okay.
So we should have 2 or 3 people doing gathering, 1 or 2 people guarding, and 1 or 0 people doing a survey.
What does a survey require? skill-wise?
Survey is it just happens.
Okay.
Basically, just each person who does survey, it just gives you an extra roll on the exploration roll. Essentially, the person who surveys makes an exploration roll.
I would either do a Dex Int check or I guess a survey.
What's your Dex?
My Dex is +2 and my Int is +3.
How's
I
your
should probably do
perception?
the Dex Int then.
My Wisdom is neutral, so my perception is neutral.
Gotcha.
What'd you say, BBQ?
I think I should probably do the dex since I have +3/+3.
Oh yeah, then
That's
you are
pretty
a
good.
higher
All
mod.
right, BBQ. Give me a
Yes.
dex plus int. For each point above, or for each like score above 13, you get a ration.
So, that would be
D20
a
plus 6.
D20 plus 6.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Ooh,
All right,
that's
so that
pretty good.
is 9 rations.
Wow, we are one short.
I have a question.
Yes.
Does proficiency or expertise in nature or survival aid in this at all?
You should probably make it so that you get some of the actual specific things for the tool proficiencies. Because stuff like herbalism, like if you have an herbalism kit proficiency, that would let you do the herbalism one better. If you have the hunting one, that lets you do the hunting and trapping ones better, those sorts of things.
Okay.
It's tool proficiency tied to.
Do have the herbalism kit proficiency.
Okay, you'd be able to add your proficiency bonus if you're doing the herbalism one, which is the
Plus whiz.
int whiz.
So that would be a +5 for me then.
Go for it.
Rat luck. That I did not mean to do that.
Woo! That is a 24. That is
Jeez.
11.
Nice.
So we got 20 rations from that so far.
You are now
Rations.
at 70 rations.
Rations.
So, of note, this can happen in any order. So you don't have. So you have 3 more actions that you guys can do. You should probably have somebody guard so you don't get guaranteed ambush if something finds you. Because that tends to be pretty bad.
Yeah.
I don't really have
I-
any
I
other way
can
to
guard.
contribute. I will guard as well.
Okay, we've got 2 people guarding. Alba, you can do a trapping check. Wait, no. You can do a hunting check,
Hunting
a survey
is-
check, or a guard.
I'll survey.
Survey it is.
Oh, yeah.
All right, go ahead and give me another D8 plus 3.
Same for you.
Hey, exact same.
Utterly incredible.
Gaming.
Woohoo. And with that, we have started our next bastion train. It is the 31st day. Make your moves.
Well, I guess we.
Oh, I
And
moved
then-
my mouse. I don't remember where we're going.
Oh, I was here?
Oh no, we're not going to the. I thought we were supposed to ask them for advice.
I mean, you
No,
can if
we
you
asked
want
at
to.
the city.
I mean,
Yeah,
you can still
well,
ask at Lalo Peak if you want. Like, there's no reason not to since you're passing through.
I was about to say,
Where-
hold on. Can't we not cross the river today anyway? So. No, I'm stupid.
I mean, you could cross the river to the left, but you're moving up into the right some.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
but
do we say-
there's no road. So if we go to Lalo Peak, can we use our movement to go to any of those other 2 squares because there's no road and we use half our movement?
You can bank the
Sure.
movement for it. This is the last
weather
day
is
that it's
better,
going
so-
to be rainy. So you can bank
Oh,
1
okay.
point of movement. And then just have 4 movement points tomorrow.
Okay.
That
Okay.
sounds good to me.
Yeah, same.
So
Where I remember we talked about there was a broken bridge at some point.
If you went into Lalo Peak, you could probably find out about it. That would
Well, sure,
probably
yeah, it-
alleviate the crossing a little bit, but
Yeah, the crossing is probably going to take 3 points because it's rough terrain and a river.
mhm.
So let's go into Lalo Peak and spend this point of movement anyway because it'll be wasted regardless.
Sure.
All right. It is the 32nd day. You learn that the bridge is here.
Okay. So we are here then.
It's not over a particularly high ravine. It's a pretty dilapidated bridge, but it's also was a simple one. It's also probably one of the easiest places to fjord the crossing.
Well, that gets us closer to where we need to go, and it is an easier crossing.
All right.
Any objections?
No.
Sounds smart to me.
All right, next day. I believe that's the 43rd? No.
I know,
42nd.
42nd still, because
Right.
we didn't. Yeah. So we did that on the 41st.
Oh,
One tile a day for mountains. Go for it.
right. Do we want to? I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't
the
last.
43rd.
Wasn't yesterday the last?
It
yeah,
was the
yeah,
last rainy day, so
yeah, it was. It's still it's 3 movement
Well,
for
it's
mountains and swamps,
Oh, 3
Hmm.
movement for mountains. Okay.
and it would
That's-
normally be 4 movements attempting to cross a river, and it would mean sometimes you don't even move a tile. But
Mhm.
luckily, if you cross at that spot, there's no crossing penalty for this.
Zam,
Mhm.
then not only are we going to be a day late, we might be upwards of 3 days late, maybe 4.
No, you're gonna be a day late.
Wait, you said it was up here?
It was this one.
This one?
well, today's the 43rd.
Oh yeah, no,
It'll
you're
take
We're
right.
gonna be
You're
3
right.
days late.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
3
it'll
days
take us
late.
4 days to get there.
But
Yeah,
here's the
we're
thing:
definitely
it
gonna
was
be-
also very rainy, so it's likely other people were probably late too.
Mhm.
Anyway, we continue?
Mhm.
Okay.
1.
44.
Mhm.
Straight up is
So we just
straight up is
46.
neutral. Yep,
45.
45.
Hey,
45.
And 46 of High Sun.
Woohoo! Woohoo!
Big.
Woohoo!
And because Albatross has to go, we should probably close the session off before we actually start the prospecting expedition.
That is fair. You get to the camp and things are nice.
Nice.
All right.
Oh, that is the wrong one.
Nice.
damn,
Um,
that
the
is
night
one
vision.
black square.
Yeah, I know. Hold on. I need to actually add the correct tokens instead of the combat tokens.
Oh, that's so nice.
I had a black and white rat. It was lovely.
Yeah,
Oh
that
my
was
gosh,
because of
so
your
cute.
night vision.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that one that? There we go.
Molly,
Molly.
you're a good mule, Molly.
There's a few people in camp, but it.
Well, I
Wait,
think-
no,
I
no,
think
no,
we've
no,
got
no,
a-
no, 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 no.
Yeah, we've got two nameless ones.
We get to have a jolly good time next time. I'll drag in the people, and you can actually meet some of the people who are financing this fine expedition.
Dragon.
But for now, I'm thrilled to have finally gotten to a point where we got to start season 2 with all of you. This is joyous.
Oh, yeah.
This is wonderful. And I
Oh,
think
I'm
it's been a
so
massive
excited.
success.
I'm glad to
And-
be doing this with y'all.
And thank you to everyone who helped make it a record time on Twitch. We actually had an average of like 30 people for like the entire time, which is pretty big.
Hey, y'all.
Hey.
Way to go. And for everyone on YouTube, thank you as well. Here's hoping for next time, where we'll get to have a little bit more inciting incidents occur. But for now, we move on. Thank you all for coming, and have a fantastic day. Bye.
Yes, sir.
Bye-bye.
Bye.